Jumwa Chatwa puts it up and through as he climbs the ladder and sails.
Welcome to SicEm365 Radio.
Today was great. I thought there was good energy today. I thought the execution was good. I think both sides of the ball are keeping it relatively simple, so the focus is on fundamentals and technique.
SicEm365 Radio is presented by IdealMRI.com. High-quality MRIs for $497 or less. IdealMRI.com. Your health is important, so is your budget.
The other way, can they beat it on the fly? Flagler caught!
The 3 o'clock hour is sponsored by Waco Custom Marketplace. Meats, sweets, Texas treats, and a cut above the rest. 425 Lake Air Drive, Waco.
About Villanova, it's they've won 2 out of the last 4 national championships. Coach Wright has a great culture. They're extremely disciplined. They don't turn the ball over. They take great shots. They play the right way. They share the ball. And defensively, they're rock solid.
Have you downloaded the SicEm365 Radio app? Do it today on the App Store and Google Play.
Looking to the end zone, got to be a touchdown. Drake Toll. Now here's David Smoak, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoak.
All right, here we go. SicEm365 Radio on this Thursday afternoon, and it is packed. Fran Fraschilla will join us. Initially, we thought 3:15. He has NIT coverage this weekend. He will join us today at 3:30. Jalen Petrie, Baylor senior safety, will join us from yesterday's post-practice at 3:45. Craig and Grayson will be at practice this afternoon, the opening around 3:40, 3:45, and when they are done, they'll come back here and discuss it, chew it up, and digest what they saw like they did yesterday here in studio with Paul Catalina. I'm David Smoak, Armstrong Sims, Craig to my right. Jack and Cole both here today, getting back to the full bullpen in a lot of ways here on SicEm365 Radio. Also, Mickey Spagnuolo on a couple of the moves the Cowboys are either trying to make or will make at around 4:40 today. Then Katie Stager-Smith, Baylor volleyball, number 6 in the country against number 2 ranked Texas tomorrow night at home. And then 2 interviews in the 5 o'clock hour. One of them with Alvin Brooks III, Baylor assistant coach. His father was a longtime coach, of course, at Houston. And his thoughts. I got some great stuff from Jerome Tang on Alvin Brooks III. Do you know that when he goes to the Chick-fil-A, when he drives up to the Chick-fil-A across the street from Baylor, on 35, there's a lady named Pam that walks out to the side and hands him his bag of what he has always ordered, and also there's orange juice. He is a man of basically like a great-looking pulse.
So is it every day he does this?
Well,
or
I don't
enough
know.
to where...
I don't know about that. I don't know that, but I just know that Jerome Tang said he's a man of, he's kind of the same. He's in a routine. A lot of people are in routines, but you're going up and down. And then also today, think about this. This was something that I saw, a story that was sent to me. Now, if you are a parent, and some coaches are old enough with their grandparents, like Kim Mulkey's a grandparent. But if you're a parent and you're an assistant coach or you're a strength and conditioning, athletic performance, any of that, media relations, maybe even a player, you're not allowed to see your children. You can see your children if they're in the arena. You can wave at them. You cannot be with them. And Kaylin Rice, who's an assistant coach at Baylor, has a newborn who was slightly prematurely born. She's not in San Antonio with the team. She's with a newborn. That decision was easy. But others, whether their sons or daughters are in high school or they're 3 and 4 and 5 years old, cannot, other than Facebook or Facebook Live or Zoom or whatever, FaceTime, see their children. And it's kind of a fine line. If you bring them to the arena, a 3 or 4 year old is going to want to go see mommy or daddy, right? And they can't. And that could create, obviously, some disappointment.
Yeah,
I never even thought about that part of this thing.
Never occurred to me at all. That's pretty tough.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it would be tough. I don't really have anything to add to that. I mean, I can't even pretend to be from a parent's point of view. I don't have kids, so I mean, yeah, that's tough. I don't know what else to say.
It would be really, really difficult. You know, it's one thing you go on a trip, you go to do something, you're going to work, you're coming back. Or if it was normal tournament type of stuff, you go to Kansas City or Oklahoma City for the tournament, and you're there maybe 4 to 5 days, right? And you could come home early if you lose, and it's a jet. Usually the school flies you right back to your own airport. If it's a regional tournament or the first round, second round, you play like a Friday, Sunday, or Saturday, Monday, then you come back, whether you win or not. If you win both, you come back, and then you have 3 or 4 days. Then you go again. This has been now for over a week. And it's just something, it's another story. So Jeremy Hefner, who's a part of the athletic performance at Baylor for the Lady Bears, and Kyle Robart's athletic communications, a double combination interview with them today on what they're dealing with as parents. Kyle's got 2 daughters who are 4 years old twins. And Jeremy has a 5-year-old, I think, his son. And so what they kind of deal with in a way. Now, Fran Fraschilla at 3:30 today. Lon Kruger, Oklahoma's Hall of Fame coach, she's been really good, is, according to Jeff Goodman, I believe it was Jeff Goodman, retiring. They were a team that I thought early in the Big 12 season might be the second best team in the conference. They kind of faded down the stretch, but they were good. Lon Kruger did a good job with them, but he's retiring. So that affects the Big 12.
Yeah, both the men's and women's basketball coaches at Oklahoma, so Joe Castiglione looks like he's got some work to do.
Yeah, I'd say so. 2 basketball coaches to hire and 2 longtime coaches, 2 people that have been there a really long time. So, the women's program didn't really have a whole lot going on the last few years. Sherry Cole, I think, kind of just, did what she could do. Lon Kruger, long time, head coach, been around a long time and very well respected. I think there's going to be a lot of coaches in the league that miss him not being around. Certainly that seemed to be the sentiment I was seeing. And, yeah, I mean, that's a good job. I mean, I think that'll be a job, and the women's job's a good job. But that men's job, I think you see that somebody can come in there is pretty good, get a couple guys, and not be that far away. I mean, they're already a tournament team. So, it's not like you have to rebuild them from scratch or anything. Just get talent. That's all you have to do is just come in and get talent.
I would think that's a pretty attractive job.
It's one of the few schools in America, Florida, where he also coached, is like that. There are very few that are both elite. And Oklahoma's right on the edge. They haven't been, but he was in a Final Four, just in 2016 at Oklahoma. He took Florida to a Final Four in 1994. He's been around. He was in the NBA for a little bit too. So he's retiring. Isn't that one of the few schools that is at a what you consider a top 25 level in both college basketball, men's college basketball, and also football?
Yeah. And
Ohio State this year, Baylor, not in football, but obviously there's been times when they've been both.
Yeah, and part of that is that you have an athletic director that's done a great job there.
Been there a long time.
He's been there a long time, and he knows what he's doing. And there's no. I think the thing I've always kind of respected about Joe Castiglione is even when the university president at Oklahoma did nothing but pop off, that guy just went and did his job. I mean, just goes and does his job. The president can go and be a big blowhard and a politician and all that. Joe Castiglione's like, how do I get good people in here to run my program so that we win? And that's what he does. And so I would think that, he's not going to have a shortage of people who are hearing this and going, hey, Joe, have you seen me coach? I'm good at coaching. Bring me there. That's a fantastic athletic department.
They were 29-8 in 2015-16 season, went to the Final Four, been to the Sweet 16 once. The last 2 or 3 years have been a little bit down. Last year's team canceled. And this year's team, they lost in a round of 32 to Gonzaga. All right? Now, Baylor-Villanova. Is this about pace? I think one of the strengths about Baylor's men's basketball team, they can win a low-scoring and or a high-scoring game, which I think is very important. But Villanova, they can score now. But is this all about Villanova wanting to make it almost an old Big East type mentality game compared to what Baylor can do with their guards and get this thing up in the 75, 80 plus range?
I would think that if Villanova wants to win, they want to keep it, at 68, 63, kind of a game, not a, if it gets into, 81, in the high 70s and 80s. I don't know if Villanova wants that because that's going to favor Baylor. Baylor has more scorers right now. But listening to Jay Wright, I think his concern wasn't so much scoring with Baylor. It was how are they going to score on Baylor? Because the 3 guards that are taking on his 3 guards are all elite defenders.
Yeah, I'd imagine it's going to be a low-scoring game if Villanova wins this. I don't think they're going to come in trying to, win a shootout. So with Baylor's defense, Villanova's going to have to play equally good defense, and the way to expose Baylor, outside of just them not hitting shots, which is them on their own, it's not really anything Villanova can influence too much, but is to go down low and try to expose that weakness for this Baylor team, because that is their weakness, or that is one of their weaknesses, as we pointed out, multiple times. So, yeah, I would think that's probably the way that they try to attack things, but I really don't know. They might be scheming up something super great, and attacking Jared Butler for all we know. It'll be interesting to see how they, go about trying to undo this Baylor run that the Bears have been on.
They've beaten 2 teams that are both double-digit seeds, in Winthrop by 10, and also North Texas and Grant McCaslin by 23 blew them out. And their basketball conference, although Butler was down this year, they got a lot of basketball blue bloods, including, Xavier and DePaul and Marquette and others, Georgetown, who made a run at the end of the year, Providence. So there's a lot of basketball-type schools. They did beat Texas back in December, 68-64 in Austin. I remember that game. They beat Hartford by 34 back on December the 1st, 87-53. ESPN, the BPI, which is kind of an index, says now the team with the best chance to win the women's tournament based on the first 2 games, Baylor, 21% percentage chance of winning. UConn at 20%. Stanford, who's the number 1 overall seed, 16%. Maryland, 13%. South Carolina, 11%. All of the talking heads and the analysts in the studio, they are like frothing at the mouth about Baylor, the way they've looked in the first 2 rounds of this tournament.
When you allow like 4 points a quarter, I think yeah, I know it's more than that, but they're smothering people on defense. So, and the cliche is that defense travels, and they can win. Baylor can win a game when they score 50 points, because there's a good chance that they maybe have only given up 39.
Yeah.
I've been saying it for a few weeks now. They're flying under the radar, and I think that, they should be considered right there along with everybody else as having the best odds for the championship. They're playing really well right now. Don't seem to have too many, weaknesses in their armor, and they seem to be having a lot of fun and just hitting a nice rhythm. So, they're one of the more dangerous teams in the tournament, to be sure.
Michigan on Saturday afternoon. The men will play Villanova a little bit later on Saturday afternoon in Indianapolis, the women in San Antonio. And Alyssa Smith continues to be a part of a lot of lists. She's now a part of the Wade Trophy Award finalist list as the National Player of the Year. And she, of course, has been pretty much attached to pretty much everything imaginable. Baylor's had 3 Wade Trophy Award winners in their history. Brittany Griner, Odyssey Sims, back-to-back years with those 2. And then also, I thought Lauren Cox was involved, but those are the 3. Brittany Griner, 2012 and 13, then Odyssey Sims in 2014. And they had a finalist a year ago, which was the great Lauren Cox as well. Texas. Baylor, of course, started spring drills. Craig and Grayson are about to head over there. What a beautiful day to be over there. Good gosh. And they were there twice yesterday. Texas spring drills shut down because of COVID concerns and protocol.
Well, they made it all the way. Did they get any problems during the football season, Texas football? They had 1, right?
I don't remember. That's a blur to me.
I remember they got something really early before the season, and that's why they didn't really deal with it at all after that.
Practice on hold for the next several days, according to the school, and meetings will be held virtually starting, in fact, today. So that's there. And then this story here, Tristan Abram, tonight expected to be approved by Pittsburgh High School in East Texas. He was at Paul Pewitt before he took the job at Mejia. He was there a year. He's going back towards East Texas to Pittsburgh. Tristan Abram. I hate that for Mejia, but I'm happy for Tristan Abram. Well, Pittsburgh's a school that's very similar to Mejia, but I guess obviously he wants to get back closer to that area. But he was at Sulphur Springs, remember, as a player, which is up closer to Pittsburgh in a lot of ways.
Mejia has kind of been the Arkansas State of programs here, because coaches will come there, they'll have a little bit of success, and then they'll go somewhere else. They haven't really had a long-term coach there in a while. I mean, maybe 3 years. I think Frank Sandoval was a couple years, so
couple of years.
Yeah. I mean, they've had a lot of guys that come in there for 1 year and then go. So it's hopefully for them they can get somebody who can be more consistent and stay there for 4 or 5 years at least.
Well, I mean, they're going to need somebody who cares about Mahia.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think any coaches are sitting there going like, hey, can't wait to be in Mahia for the next 10 years. And there's people that come to Waco, they don't plan on being here for 10 years, so I don't think that's a destination job for anybody. It's a leaping pad, and they need somebody who doesn't view it that way. Now, who that could possibly be, I don't know. It's not always easy to go the alum route because we saw with Kwame Cavill and Waco High. That doesn't always work. But you have to have somebody who actually cares about Mahia, not Mahia as, hey, this is the program that's going to get me to Duncanville, which will get me to South Lake Carroll, which will give me my head coaching. That's what those guys are looking at. They're not looking at Mahia as anything but, a stop. And they got to change that.
And guess what? Bob McQueen, the great coach at Temple, was at Mahia 4 years. A guy named, you ever heard of Hal Wasson? He's now, at Corsicana? 4 years at Mahia. Eventually, he was at South Lake Carroll. No one's really ever been there more than 6 or 7 years. Obviously, lately, Sandoval 3 years, Tristan Abrams 6-5 last year, and now it appears as if they will have to go into another coaching search there. Now,
6 and 7 years is fine. That's a fine length, but the problem is they haven't the last 10 coaches haven't stayed beyond 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, they had Craig Harris was there for 6 years, and there'd been 2 years, 3 years, 2 years, 2 years, and that was back in the late '90s, early 2000s. You're right.
2021.
All right, so you and Grayson were able to go to practice yesterday, get some audio. Jalen Petrie, Connor Galvin, also, of course, Dave Aranda. Anything from that end of practice? I know it started raining as well. Anything from the end of that practice that you want to bring to us that we haven't? We're going to have Jalen Petrie join us in just a second from earlier yesterday.
I mean, I'll be honest with you guys. Between the stuff we said yesterday and the stuff I've written on the website, I think I've given every observation I possibly can from spring practice. So check out that. I just gave random thoughts, 11 random thoughts on what I saw yesterday. It's pretty lengthy, but a lot of it's in there, so check out the website. But I guess just the end of practice overall is just very upbeat, as Grayson can probably attest to. We weren't around this team last year, but even being far away via Zoom, they just didn't feel cohesive. It just didn't seem like all the pieces fit together. I remember Larry Fedora's one and only media session, and I just wondered afterwards, does he even really care to be here, honestly? And then the struggles, and I don't know. I never got a good gel vibe from this coaching staff or just the program in general last year. And I think a lot of that had to do with, all that they were dealing with the pandemic and everything, and the uncertainty, and putting together a new coaching staff and trying to make it work without really having that time to gel. It's been different this time around. The coaches are on campus. The coaches are on campus with the players. The coaches and players are on campus with students, and it's what it's supposed to be, and that makes a world of difference. And I guess the major thing is Aranda said that they spent a lot less time on football and a lot more time on relationship building, during this time, and that the football will come, and it's starting up now, but really they could have done more and decided not to because they thought it was more important to build the relationships with their players. And I think if you listen to Connor Galvin, I think if you listen to Jalen Petrie, I think if you listen to, I think those are the only two we talked about, but just the people around watching practice, it's different, man. It's totally different. Grayson, would you agree with that? Just the feel? It's totally different from last year, and that's the best way I can describe it unless you've seen it.
Grayson will join Craig again around an hour from now. We'll have him after practice, whenever they can get back over here, too. We'll have some more from them.
Some of the things you mentioned there, Craig, that's also weird about it. Okay, they're on, they get to practice together, but they don't really get to spend that much time together once they practiced together last year. It was kind of a mad dash all over the country to.
It's everybody had their own tunnels to get back to where they were.
You can be here together for this time, from 2 to 4 p.m., but at 4:01 p.m., everybody's scattered.
Yeah.
And then we'll do this virtually. And so you don't even get an hour to hang out and, play video games in the locker room together. Those kind of things, just the little team building things that, they need to do. They had, 5% of team building time last year compared to what they do this year. So
Grayson has views from the Brazos spring football officially underway. Craig also has 11 takeaways from Baylor's first spring practice under Dave Aranda. Of course, there's also recruiting notes, including Texas High 4-star linebacker Derek Brown. Grayson has that. There's the post-practice. There's so much, plus all of the coverage of men's and women's basketball in the premium section pinned at the top.
I'll tell you this too, when you talk to players last year or even in previous years when things were normal and you ask them about a new coach and they kind of give a stock answer, they're just like, yeah, he's great, and getting to know him. And sometimes they mean it a little bit more than maybe it comes across as. But a lot of it's just talk. Like, you're just saying what you're supposed to say. Like, yeah, the new coach is great, getting to know him, blah, blah, blah. I don't know how much those guys, were really meaning what they were saying last year in regards to some of the coaches and relationships and all of that. Like, if maybe they were saying that it was a little bit better than it really was. I mean, certainly that appears to be the case in certain instances. But Connor Galvin, gushed over the new coaches yesterday. Jalen Petrie was he not as much because his coaches haven't changed, but I mean, he was very complimentary. But Connor Galvin was genuinely fired up for Jeff Grimes and Coach Mateos and all the changes. So I noticed that. That was another thing I noticed is they genuinely seemed like it wasn't just talking points and going through the motions of the first post-practice session. It was legitimately happiness.
I think there were times when players probably felt like mummies.
Shoot, I felt like mummies at times last year covering the team. Yeah.
So if I'm looking at the player's point of view, I probably could have asked that question last year. I think that I would have gotten a pretty good answer from some of them, but you're right. So they're going to be over there here momentarily. We have Fran Fraschilla at 3:30. Great opportunity to have him. Also, the interviews we have with Alvin Brooks and then Jeremy Hefner and Kyle Robarts will be in the 5 o'clock hour. I'm leaving around 4:45. Headed to Indianapolis. I'll be there, arrive late tonight, be there for the show tomorrow. Also, I want to let you know, John Gallagher, our buddy from Hartford, is going to be a part of the show tomorrow. He'll be on Zoom with us to give us a little breakdown what he thinks about Baylor and also the rest of the tournament going forward.
You're not telling people that I booked you 2 separate private jets? You take one from here to Dallas, and you get to get on a different one.
Yeah.
You're rolling
if
deep.
the private jet, why did I have to go and get seat 12F or whatever?
Well, they just want to know where you are. It's COVID protocols for the staff of the private jet. Yeah. They need to know how far to keep away from you.
Unless I looked at it wrong, the flight from Dallas to Indianapolis is not like a big boy plane?
Yeah, I don't think it is. I told you it's private jet. It's private.
Oh, okay. So it's one of those that like Jordan Spieth.
Yeah,
They didn't know where on the plane to bring the gourmet meal.
Bryson DeChambeau.
To eat.
Yeah. I'm going to be flying in one of those. Okay, all right.
They want you to be comfortable, and then they set everything up around you.
Yes.
Yeah, I bet. I'll call you guys when I land at midnight. All right, I'll do that tonight. Now,
do you want to tell the people about the time I accidentally rented you like a Toyota Volt or whatever it was?
That was Ames, Iowa.
A Nissan Volt.
You ever seen one of those? It's humanly impossible to get in it. Do we have a picture of a Volt? Yeah. So I go to Ames, Iowa, because Baylor's playing. I think they might have been a Friday night game or a Thursday night. I don't know what it was, but I went up there.
Is this Chevrolet Volt?
And I stayed.
Yeah, whatever it is.
I stayed at the hotel, did the show that afternoon, covered Baylor against Iowa State, flew into Des Moines. I don't know where I flew into, and then drove to Ames. No. That is an SUV compared to a Volt.
Okay, I don't see this car.
There's a little like a Nissan
Leaf.
I promise you.
Yeah, try to look at the Nissan. I don't know if it's a Nissan Leaf.
I could barely.
It's a Leaf. That just sounds like a small car.
These all look great.
And it's not like I had more than 2 or 3 days I was going to be there. I was going to be there for 2 nights.
All right, while they're doing that, I just got an email from Taylor Bryan, and it's over Pro Day. I don't really know how much excitement there's going to be for Pro Day, quite honestly, but it was in regards to credentials, and it's just notable because it's going to take place on March 29th, but there's not going to be a lot of players involved. Just draft-eligible players off of last year's team that will be working out. William Bradley King, obviously. Jake Burton, obviously, as well as Tristan Slinker, who is a walk-on. And then free agents, Spencer Drango and Chris Platt will also be working out at the Baylor Pro Day. So hadn't heard about Drango in a while. Haven't heard much about him in quite a while. And we know with Chris, he had the lengthy college career and still has that football dream. But yeah, Drango and Platt will both be working out alongside Bradley King, Burton, and
Very
Slinker.
interesting.
So that's a small group, but it does make it more interesting. There's a couple former players that apparently are going to be involved.
Chris Platt has constantly overcome the odds. Time is ticking, running out. But good luck to him. I hope that means that he's going to run some crazy 40 and at least get some attention. There was never an issue with that. The Spencer Drango kind of getting a chance to be seen in front of some pro scouts that are looking for offensive linemen. It's been a while since he was started his NFL career, but not that long ago. But the most decorated offensive lineman they've ever had.
Yeah.
I mean, as far as recruit, yeah, and maybe even with what he did when he got here as well.
Yeah, I mean, probably, and I know he got cut a couple years back, and I don't know really what he's been doing in the meantime. I don't think we ever talked to him, did we? Or maybe we did early on. I don't think so.
We've had Spencer on since we started this show in April. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that was very early on then. But, yeah, I don't know what he's been up to. But, I just thought that was noteworthy that both he and Platt will be working out.
By the way, for those of you who are not on the premium section or subscribe to the premium section, I'm not going to give you the story from Craig, but I'm going to give you the headlines of the 11 takeaways.
Well, that kind of gives it away.
Well, okay. I want everyone to understand, and there's huge numbers of comments after that. Grateful. Was that you or the players?
Everyone was grateful. You got to kind of read it to understand. I kind of explain it there, why with the grateful part. I'm
trying to tease it so people may want to go read it as well.
I understand that, but me explaining it gives away what I wrote. So I think people kind of need to read it. So grateful was everyone. That's what it says. Everyone was grateful.
Note about Dave Aranda's personality and activity and all of that, energy, new coaches. You've kind of discussed some of this, the quarterback group. We discussed that yesterday. Petrie, Squirrel Williams, Clay Johnston, Garrett McGuire, Apu Ika. And what you said about him, and also just some final thoughts. And then Grayson has his as well. That is all. Think about right now what's going on. Both the teams, men's and women's basketball, Sweet 16, both of them have a chance to keep going after this weekend. And they also could all be gone in a minute. And now spring drill starts, thank God, because last year there was none. Also, the Baylor volleyball team plays Texas tomorrow night. Softball and baseball in action. Well, of course, we know tennis. Scotty B. By the way, we need to start giving Scotty B part of the.
Was that about it right there?
That's still too big. I promise you.
Yeah.
I would have died for that's too big.
I don't think that's about it right there.
Some of the worst cars.
No, this thing, you see the back door? There is no back door.
Okay.
Take that car.
It's like a smart car.
Take that car and slam the back of it as if it got hit by a pickup truck, and there's no back seat.
You could have, I rented
a smart car.
I rented the car, and I got the cheapest rate.
Yeah, you did.
And
you sure did.
But you went, you were at the place, and you could have walked out and been like, this is too small.
There you go. That's it. The black car. That right there.
You were in a smart car.
That is insane what I drove. I had a suitcase, I had my hanging bag, and I had equipment.
Why don't you just tell them, no, we got to, give me for 40.
I've never been the same.
You could have told them.
Why didn't you just say no?
Can I upgrade?
If I was walked over to that car, I'd just be like, no.
I almost
what do I got to
I don't know if Uber.
I
don't know if Uber was back during that time. Even then, it was a pretty long drive.
It was
pretty long drive.
No, look, we went to
let's go.
We went to Tampa a month ago, and we hadn't rented a car. Then we just walked up and hey, you got a car? And they're like, yeah. What do you want?
Yeah, I know, but it was
that's COVID.
It was a very busy time.
Yeah,
it was a very busy time. That I would have slobbered on that one.
I think that's the one.
It's not. It's what the other one was, the black one. Okay, when we come back, one of the great analysts in college basketball. He probably knows Baylor as well as anybody. We've had LaFonso Ellis and, of course, Danny Manning. We've had Seth Greenberg, who's been great, among others. Fran Fraschilla of ESPN on college basketball, the tournament, and Baylor, next on SicEm365 Radio.
Richard Carr, Buick GMC Cadillac. They got the New Year's sales event going on now, and that means a lot of great deals, a lot of great prices, and a lot of great customer service as well, which you always get at Richard Carr, Buick GMC Cadillac. They are the people you can count on, and they've been having deals going on ever since we started this radio show over a year ago, and hopefully they've outfitted a lot of you with great new vehicles, and you can get in one right now. If you've been in the market or you haven't purchased a car in a while, now's the time. Celebrating 22 years of serving Waco and Central Texas, Richard Carr has savings on all cars and trucks on the lot, including all 2021 Buicks with deep discounts like $4,500 on a 2021 Buick Encore, $500 on 2021 GMC Terrains. Richard Carr Motors is your local family dealer, as I've mentioned. They want to earn your business and do so with great prices, free oil changes, and new purchase and priority warranty service on all vehicles bought on their lot. And you can come by the clean and disinfecting showroom to take a test drive, or, as I've mentioned for months now, they can bring the test drive to you. And right now, got the big basketball tournament going on. Come by the dealership and take a shot to win additional prizes. It's the big 22-year anniversary sales event going on now at Richard Carr.
Hey, this is Bryce Petty, former starting quarterback and two-time Big 12 champion, and I know firsthand the importance of being in top shape both on and off the field. So listen up, men. If you're feeling beat down day in and day out and looking for that high-performance edge that separates the men from the boys, then look no further than the Petty Clinic Low T in Waco. Petty Clinic is a comprehensive men's healthcare clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Board-certified Dr. Kent Petty has a special interest in offering the highest quality medical care to men of all ages. Some of the services offered include screening and treatment for low testosterone or thyroid, infertility, high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, sleep apnea, while offering comprehensive wellness exams and complete men's health lab panels. High performance men, remember, it's not just a Petty thing. This is Bryce Petty, encouraging you to reach out and Google search Petty Clinic Low T or go to pettycliniclowt.com and get your complimentary lab screening today.
Parenting is full of surprises.
You never know what to expect.
So after our son was born, I called my Texas Farm Bureau insurance agent to set up a life insurance policy in case something happened to me.
Sawyer is now 2.
And we'll soon have a sister. There's no one else I would trust with protecting my family.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
Stepping into a new pair of boots is great, but stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can also add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. There are more than 150 occupational specialties to help them find the best fit for their future. See all the things your son or daughter can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
In the market for a quality metal building? Since 1943, Pioneer Steel and Pipe has helped Central Texas residential and commercial customers with metal building design, panel options, building components, and trim options. Pioneer Steel and Pipe's residential line is energy efficient, offers low maintenance, reduces insurance payments, is impact resistant, and carries up to a 45-year limited warranty. In addition, they can also help you find a metal building contractor for your project. Pioneer Steel and Pipe with locations in Waco and Bryan and at pioneersboys.com.
It's time to fire up the grill, heat up the oven, or get that deep fryer going to enjoy the top quality products at Waco Custom Marketplace. Order 30-pound sacks of live crawfish by 6 on Wednesday. Pick up on Friday afternoon after 2 or Saturday. Enjoy the weekend. 30-pound sacks of live crawfish available right now for $4.25 a pound. Find all the crawfish boil ingredients you need, including red beef potatoes, sausage, corn cobettes, and Louisiana boil seasoning. Make your order for live crawfish by Wednesday at 6. Pick up on Friday after 2 or all day Saturday and enjoy the weekend. Waco Custom Marketplace, your home for fresh baked kolache, cinnamon rolls every day. Butcher shop to cut your steaks the way you want. Fresh seafood, summer sausage, boudin, house cured and smoked bacon, spices, seasoning, soup mixes, and more, and weekly gift boxes for any occasion. Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco or WacoCustomMarketplace.com.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio.
The Sic'em365 Radio app is sponsored by Allen Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat in Waco. Your friend in the car business at Loop 340 and east of 84. Come by. Let's be friends.
All right, 3:34. Fran Fraschilla, as good as it gets when it comes to breaking down, analyzing college basketball, and of course, even the NBA draft, joins us. He's got the NIT coming up this weekend. As in fact, starting in Frisco, headed that way. Fran, thanks for your time. Let me start, by the way, with Lon Kruger. and his announcement that he's going to retire at Oklahoma. Your thoughts about Lon Kruger?
Yeah, not surprised. 10 great years at Oklahoma. He did exactly what Joe Castiglione wanted. He brought great stability to the program. He went to a Final Four, regular appearances in the NCAA tournament. His son was named the coach at UNLV, where he played and starred for his dad. Dad and mom are building a beautiful home on the Southern Highlands golf course south of the Strip. Makes perfect sense. And I trust Joe Castiglione to hire a great addition to Oklahoma basketball, because I think Joe is one of the best in the business, the athletic director at Oklahoma.
Not only that, this is not a job that should be unattractive to anyone who wanted it. I mean, you don't have to rebuild anything. You just kind of have to hit the ground running, don't you?
Yeah, I think there'll be some rebuilding, losing Manick and Reeves, certainly. And, the way college basketball is, you can't assume everybody's staying every year because of the new transfer rules. But it's a great job because there's not the pressure on the job that there is on the football coach at Oklahoma. And as I've talked about many, many times before, when you're the basketball coach at a, quote, football school, like Texas, like Oklahoma, like Florida, like Ohio State, like Michigan, all you got to do is be reasonably good, stay off probation, get to the tournament, 2 or 3 years out of 4, and it can be a great lifestyle. I think it is a great job. The league is great. Basketball in the league is probably at its pinnacle right now, and I would not be surprised if Joe Castiglione knocks it out of the park.
Fran, how would you, on a barometer, I don't care, 1 to 10, whatever, just your thoughts about Baylor, where they were coming, even when they beat West Virginia and Oklahoma State and Texas Tech, where they were then, the loss to Oklahoma State, who's good, but also now what you see after 2 rounds of the NCAA tournament, are they closer to being what they were?
Yes, without a doubt. And I think it just, it takes time. We're all going through this COVID deal for the first time in our lifetime. So how kids react to getting the virus, or, any human being really, but particularly student athletes, in this case, Baylor, 8 different players, I believe, succumbed to the virus. Not knowing the intensity level that it hits each player, how quickly the recovery is, and then, obviously just watching this team play after they came back, minus not only 8 guys getting the virus, but 21 days away from the practice court for the entire team. I expected exactly to happen what has happened, but it's also great to see that they're rounding back into form. I don't know that they're 100% of the way back, but it certainly looks like they're 95%. And with a few more days to rest and practice, I got a feeling we're going to see a sharp Baylor team come the weekend.
What kind of matchup issues does Villanova present them?
It's really interesting. I think one of the best college basketball games played last season was played in somewhat obscurity down in Myrtle Beach when Baylor beat Villanova for the Myrtle Beach Invitational title. The difference is a kid who really gave Baylor trouble last year, Colin Gillespie, the Big East Player of the Year. This year, obviously out, won't play. But I think that Villanova's got a puncher's chance because, number one, they're extremely well coached. They have to rely on some luck in that there are a handful of games this year where Baylor, not many, but a handful where Baylor went 5 for 22, 4 for 19. And if they have one of those games Saturday, then I think it is going to be a tough game for Baylor. If Baylor plays normally and Villanova plays normally, I think Baylor will win the game. But, when you get to a one-and-done environment that this tournament is presented year in and year out, I do give Villanova a puncher's chance because they're as I said, they're well coached. They'll be prepared for Baylor as far as the scouting report. But, again, you're talking about 4 elite guards, 3 of whom who start. And, the closest thing I think Villanova has seen to that Baylor team might be Creighton, who's got a handful of good guards, but not at the level that that the Bears have.
You're right, but Creighton obviously very explosive. I didn't even realize. I never realized that Creighton had never made it past the first round weekend of the tournament. Did you know that?
I didn't know it. Now, you should check this because, and it's probably accurate, Eddie Sutton back in the day, a long time ago, had a really good Creighton team, maybe when it was a 32 or 48 team field.
Uh-huh.
And this is back when I was a kid. This is mid-'70s. But I think you're probably right. I do think Creighton got to the tournament. I know they got to the tournament under Coach Sutton before he left for Arkansas. But that is a little bit surprising given that they've had pretty good basketball history with Eddie Sutton, Dana Altman, and most recently Greg McDermott.
Fran, how difficult will it be to beat Baylor? And I know that the competition is on its way up immediately with Villanova. If Matthew Meyer plays the way he's starting to play again, and of course we know he can also make you want to take Prilosec, but if Matthew Meyer and Flagler hit at least some shots and Meyer is active on both sides of the court.
Well, as the president of the Matthew Meyer fan club, let me just say this. No, he's the X factor. He is definitely the X factor in this game because he's certainly capable of, not only being effective offensively, and I still think people around the country have no idea. I mean, I think the kid's going to play in the NBA. Trust me on that one. And hopefully it's not this year, but a year from now. And I think it probably will be a year from now. But he's not only so good offensively, but he's more active defensively than people realize. And I think that's where he can be really disruptive. So there's no doubt that Matthew – and by the way, I don't think they win the West Virginia game without the 10 straight points in the second half. And not because it's the 10 points, but because I really feel like that got Baylor's swag back, in that game. And so, he's a big factor. Obviously, Adam Flagler can be a big factor, but Villanova's got to worry about the three starting guards first and then contain, Meyer and Flagler.
Matthew's got, he's got LaFonso Ellis and Fran Fraschilla in his fan club.
LaFonso Ellis, and I think he wants to fight you for the president of the fan club.
Listen, you guys know this better than anybody. I say it first. I say this humbly. Fonz is a close friend. Here's what I would tell you. He listens well. Okay? He listens well.
I love it.
Because, seriously now, they come rolling into town.
Oh, yeah.
Dick and Jay come rolling into town when these kids are juniors and seniors, but just remember who talks about them when they're a freshman, right?
We
Go
always
back to
will.
Buddy Hield and Javon Carter and Matthew Meyer and, some of the guys that we've talked about in the past who played for Coach Drew. I don't mind being out in front of the parade, but those guys up in Bristol, they listen and pay attention well.
Fran, who's the most vulnerable one seed right now?
Oh gosh, I have to think about who's left. Are they all left? I'm driving right now.
Illinois is gone.
Yeah.
So
Illinois is gone, and who? Give me the matchups this weekend.
Michigan plays Florida State, and
there you go.
Yeah.
Let's stop it right there because of no Isaiah Livers. Arguably their best player, best all-around player. They're certainly capable of still winning this game against Florida State, but they become vulnerable just because, they're a different team. And that's the thing about losing a key guy towards the end of the season, like a Villanova or a Michigan or some of these other teams that have lost key guys, is your team has to morph into something else. And, in the case of Villanova, they have. In the case of Michigan, they have, but it's not the same team that, went through 3/4 of the season. So Michigan can certainly beat Florida State, but they become vulnerable simply because they're not the same team that they were.
One thing on where you're headed, you're on your way to Co-America Center in Frisco. Colorado State and NC State play tonight at 7. Also tonight at 10, there's the Western Kentucky against Louisiana Tech. The NIT's got great history. Texas won it last year. Baylor's won it, which is a big win for them when they needed kind of a little swagger. It's up in Dallas. The whole thing's up in Dallas, and I'm glad you're able to be a part of that, Fran. Just your thoughts about the NIT.
Well, it's funny, here's how I feel about it. There's some good teams. They're not great. They're not top 20 teams. But last March 23rd, 24th, 25th, we had no college basketball. Zero, none, nada. The country had no idea what we were in for. I'm going up here tonight and celebrating college basketball. These teams, along with the 16 that are left, guys, it's been an incredible year for student athletes, and particularly when it comes to college basketball. We all know the deal. And so I'm going to celebrate these guys tonight. I'm going to celebrate the tournament. We got some terrific players. We got some young coaches on the rise. And, I'm going to just be thankful that we're going to get to talk college basketball tonight. We'll talk a little bit about, the Sweet 16, and I'll chime in on that as well. But I'm going to celebrate these kids who've made incredible sacrifices all year to play college hoops. And by the way, there were teams that opted out of the NIT. All of these 16 teams and 8 that are left wanted to play, and we're going to celebrate them.
Well, Fran, isn't one of the best parts about the NIT is that it's a springboard, kind of like those bowl practices in college football for teams that are on the rise?
There's two ways of looking at the NIT. We've got some teams with veterans who don't want to stop playing, and then we've got some teams like this Colorado State team's got a terrific player from Allen, Texas, right here, whose family got to see him play for the first time, Isaiah Stevens. First time in 8 months they've seen their son. And they were able to come see him play, 11 miles away from Allen. And, yes, there's a couple of teams like Louisiana Tech and like Colorado State who are literally one win away from getting an NCAA tournament appearance. And they're still playing and are going to use this as a springboard to next season.
Fran, thank you. It wouldn't be a good week without you on it. Appreciate it. Celebrate it. You're right. The game's being played no matter where. Thanks for your time. Have some great broadcasts tonight.
Always a pleasure.
Thank you, Fran.
Great to be on with you guys. Bye.
Appreciate him. He is he's a go-to man when it comes to college basketball. He's been to a lot of games, of course, at the Farrell Center. Does tons of Big 12 games. Very popular. He's also very honest, and doesn't mean you always like what he's saying, depending on what fan base you are. But he's going to tell you exactly how he feels. He did say in the Big 12 tournament, I believe he said this, even against Kansas State, he made it very clear. Baylor's they're not where they were. And the next day, because they've struggled in that game. And then, of course, lost to Oklahoma State the very next day. But they're starting to tweak it, and we'll see now what the next model of 2021 Baylor basketball is on Saturday.
Do you know what Fran's mind is? He's the Gil Brandt of basketball.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think he is.
Because he knows, he follows it everywhere, all over the world.
The history around the world.
History, like the coaches, all those things. And so he knows, like the Gil Brandt, when you talk to Gil Brandt about a football player, you're like, listen, this kid, when he was 15, won a dunk contest against 20-year-olds.
Yeah, and lost his little Red Ryder, the wagon. By the way, Eddie Sutton at Creighton was before he made that great run at Arkansas. In 1973 and 74, they made the tournament. They were 23-7, but it's the first time Creighton, the Blue Jays, have been past the first round of the NCAA tournament. When we come back, Jalen Petrie, he's a single-digit player. Of course, I don't know what they're going to do with that this year. Don't care right now, but I do care that Spring Drills is day 2. Craig and Grayson are there. They'll come back on the set and in the studio and discuss it. But we have Jalen Petrie from yesterday's post-practice next on SicEm365 Radio.
The First National Bank of Central Texas, 5 locations right here at home. Waco, Woodway, Hewitt, China Spring, Martin, Hillsboro. Familiar faces making local decisions here to help you, your family, and your business. Whether it's great times or tough times, all of us need a bank we can count on. Great people, great technology, dedicated to their customers and helping our area grow. Safe banking in person or use their online and mobile apps, and convenient drive-through and ATMs at all locations, which are just humming. And look, right now, as things start to open up, some of the things that they used to not do at the drive-through, they do now. So if you need that instant issue debit card, or you need to open a checking account, or some of those things, you can do those at the drive-through window. So again, everything can be done through the drive-through at First National Bank of Central Texas. And, if you need a more personal thing, you've got a personal loan, a mortgage loan, they do that as well. Mackie Bonner helped me get my credit right when I first moved here, and they helped me get a mortgage loan for my house. So I can't tell you enough great things about the First National Bank of Central Texas, 5 locations right here at home.
Dodge Journey is the best value available in third-row seating vehicles on the market. Allen Samuels President's Day event is going on now with deals on the 2020 Dodge Journey. Values up to $6,500 or 0% for 72 months, plus $2,000 in combo cash. Or check out the 2020 Jeep Renegade Latitude with total values of $6,750 or 0% for 72 months, plus $2,500 in combo cash. Located at 201 West Loop 340 in Waco, Allen Samuels is your friend in the car business. See dealer for details. All offers have credit requirements.
And
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be a part of the Waco community. We're a small family business right here in Central Texas, and our goal is to bring down the cost of healthcare while maintaining high quality. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important, and unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. That's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through the difficult time. We offer premium MRIs just like a hospital with state-of-the-art technology and specialists, but you'll pay less. Sometimes thousands of dollars less, whether you're using insurance or not. At Ideal MRI, we accept most insurance and there are no hidden costs, even offering financing if that's needed. Everything included in the price, and you'll not get something as a surprise in the mail later on. If you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. They'll know. You can schedule an appointment safely from home online in minutes at idealmri.com or give us a call, 833-IDEAL-MRI, idealmri.com.
At Baylor University, students can shine in their own way. Or should we say their own ways? Because there's no limit to the ways Baylor students make the world a brighter place. Whether they're leading a student organization or following a higher calling, getting advice from faculty, or taking part in world-class research, pursuing their dreams, or working toward their dream job, students find their place to shine at Baylor, where lights shine bright.
Do you or your kids get nervous about going to the dentist? Stonewood Dental, Dr. Steve Childress, he can help.
I've spent a career taking care of patients who as children had bad experiences, and now they're adults that hate going to the dentist. If I get a kid at 3 years old and they come every 6 months and it's a happy experience, it's normal for them. Now they have an accident at 6 or 7 or 8 at school. Now they have a broken tooth or a trauma, and they have to come here. They're used to lights, they're used to water in their mouth, they're used to experience, they already trust us. It's amazing what we can do with that kid without it being a negative thing. But if I see a 6 or 7 or 8 year old that's never been to the dentist, and now they have a trauma or an unfortunate unexpected toothache, it's harder to do that for that kid and it not be somewhat of a negative experience. So bottom line is I try to teach kids and adults and teenagers and everybody the way I'd want my family treated, which is where it's a necessary part of life. You just take care of it. It doesn't have to be that big a deal.
Learn more, stonewood-dental.com.
At Marco's Pizza, get craveable pizza made the Italian way with dough made from scratch, an original sauce recipe, 3 fresh signature cheeses, and premium toppings you love, served hot and safe. Right now, you can get unlimited medium one-topping pizzas for just $6.99 each. Why stop at just one? Order with your app or at marcos.com for curbside, carryout, or delivery today. Marco's, pizza lovers get it.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio. March marks 22 years for Richard Carr Motors. Celebrate with big savings going on now during the anniversary sale event.
I keep saying this because I'm so thrilled that we keep saying this, and Grayson and Craig are at practice. And they'll come back over here within the next 30, 45 minutes, sit down, Craig on set, Grayson will be set up as well, and kind of just give us a couple of notes. Yesterday, one of the big notes was how big Kyron and Drones looked. I don't know how big any of these guys look because I don't remember the last time I saw any of them in person other than a game from the press box. So that was a note. And there's a lot of things that Grayson and Craig put in the premium section and also told us yesterday. And I can imagine it's got to be just a breath of fresh air. First of all, the weather's gorgeous. Just being able to be together, practice together. And I got to tell you, Taylor Bryan did an incredible job of setting this up because I at one point wondered if there would be access because some coaches are like that. And I think it's good. I think Baylor needs to have I think they need eyeballs on them. I think they need people to talk about them, even if there's something that's not a good thing or what, because there was none of that last year. It was just like, again, it was like a blur.
We need to make educated responses to things. And you know, you have all the media availabilities in the world, but that's secondhand. Even from a painfully honest person like Dave Aranda, they're not going to tell you everything. There's just certain things that you can see. Okay, and then not only that. So even if you couldn't go to practice, sometimes you could go down to the sideline during a game and watch the game from the sideline. Well, there's no sideline access last year either, so there's nothing. You had nothing.
No,
and so you couldn't even get that. Everything you're doing is watching, from a distance or on television, and that's no real way to really get to know a team, and especially a new coaching staff and understanding their tendencies. Last year, we had to you learn it on the fly.
Jalen Petrie, we know the story. He was committed to Baylor, and then there was the coaching change. He remained committed to Baylor. He was the only one that remained committed to Baylor. He was the only one committed to Baylor, right? In 2017 when Matt Rule took over. He is now a single digit. He was last year. Hell of a player at safety. And Jalen Petrie met with the media after practice on Wednesday afternoon.
Jalen, just to be back out there again and, getting it going, how good did that feel?
It was fun. It was good to get out there with my teammates. I thought we had, good energy today, and it was a good first practice.
Talk about what this is like. Obviously, this is the first time for us media members we can be in person. So, what's it like, a little sense of normalcy back again?
Yeah, it is. It feels normal again. It's good to see you guys out here. It makes it real for us again. It's been a while since y'all been able to come to practices. And, we see you guys out there, so it's fun to have y'all out here with us.
Jalen, what was the energy like just from the defense, offense? What was it like this first day?
The word I would probably use pumped. Everybody was on 10, everybody was alert, and it was fun. We clapping on the sideline. Sideline has a lot of energy, so it was a good practice. And I think we need to feed off that energy and use it to our benefit.
Can you compare going to practice today versus in the fall when you guys were starting practices, not having that spring? How much of a difference was there in just attacking and getting right to work?
Yeah, I think as a team, we take spring, as to our advantage, and we're trying to use it as a tool to help us go into the fall. Last year, like you said, we didn't have that, so we just trying to all get better at one thing, and hopefully the whole team, just rise from that.
You guys had a good season defensively. What do you feel like is sort of the next progression, the next step y'all need to take?
I would say just knowing our job better. We all can get better at something, but I think if we know our job, then it allows us to help our other teammates. And along with that, just running to the ball. Every time we run to the ball, we gonna make plays.
Missing spring ball last year with your first coach, the first year with that coach, how long was it before you were able to get your entire system set?
It took a little while, but I think everybody's starting to, gradually, grasp the defense and offense. I see guys confident and talking, and it's real fun out there to see that. Our team is, growing, and it's good to see.
Jalen, there's obviously some changes with the staff and strength and conditioning. How was the offseason? How productive was the offseason for you guys?
The offseason, it was different, but it was definitely fun. With Coach Vic and his staff, they do a great job at, bringing the energy. And I feel like I've got a lot stronger, as well as my teammates. We're seeing those gains in the weight room. Yeah, I'm trying, man. I'm trying.
I was going to do it while he was still here. What's your thoughts on Terrell Bernard?
Oh, man, he is savage. He is the standard. He going to do everything he can on and off the field to make the team better. And, he's a good guy.
Hey, among the newcomers, who's somebody we should keep an eye on, particularly defense?
I would say Lorando. We call him Snacks, but he's playing star with me, so I get to watch him every day, and it's good, to see him in our meetings, just writing notes and growing as a person. Coach Aranda is all about person over player, and I'm seeing him, make those big strides. So he gonna be a big role in our success this fall.
Why is he Snacks?
I never asked him that, honestly.
I think that was his Twitter name before he.
Yeah, I think before he came here, but I definitely need to ask him why his nickname is Snacks. It's probably because he, likes to eat snacks or something. I don't know.
You were number 8, obviously, so the single digits once again this year. Just kind of maybe talk about, to the new guys on this team, relaying that message, single digit number guys, and what it means.
It's an honor to be a single digit. And I think the new guys that come in see that. It's only 9 of us. And, we try to go out every day and be the standard and show these guys how to lead and how to, practice, because it all starts with practice. So I would just say, just doing everything to the best of my ability, and then watching me makes them want to also become a single digit and one day get to that, to that level.
Jalen, a year later, are you guys a lot more comfortable with Coach Aranda too? I mean, he's a guy that's been here 14 months or whatever now.
Yes, sir. We definitely are. We're getting to talk to him in the off season. We're getting to know him a lot better. So it's been great to talk to him as much as we can, and he's definitely a great coach, and we're growing with him.
All right, that's Jalen Petrie, the senior safety. And what a great story he has been. And a player that was one of the key players that decided to come back to Hada, obviously one among some others as well that had eligibility that could come back because of the rules within the NCAA. And I thought he was one that kind of went under the radar when he decided to come back for another year. Now, coming up next, the 4 o'clock hour, we'll have Grayson and Craig sometime maybe around 4:30. At 4:40, Mickey Spagnola on the Cowboys on how did the visits with the safeties go in Frisco, and then also Katie Stager-Smith on Baylor volleyball, number 6 in the country against number 2 Texas. And the 5 o'clock hour, the emotions of Jeremy Hefner and Kyle Robart's parents who are in that bubble, so to speak, in San Antonio and what they can or cannot do with their children and or family. And also Alvin Brooks, what a story he is, assistant coach at Baylor up in Indianapolis with the Baylor men getting ready for Villanova. This is SicEm365 Radio. Cigars. There are a lot, like shoes, great brands. Some are kind of maybe under the radar that you may not know too much about. If you're in the cigar business, you smoke cigars, you probably would. Like my father, Brickhouse, Drew Estate. I like one, it's called La Fontana. It's a very smooth, it's a Churchill length, but a little bit thin compared to the Churchill length cigars that you might smoke. And then, of course, there's the dudes from Arturo Fuente to Ashton, as well as Cohiba, some of the elite best brands of cigars in the world. Macanudo, fantastic. Christoph, Padron, Romeo and Julieta, and also many others on top of that. Padron, Padron, you about as good as it gets. Mine is Rocky Patel, like the Rocky Patel Torpedo Edge Light, and cigars available at Don Humidor. CBD products, if you have trouble falling asleep at night, they have a Vita Dreams. It's a gummy. You could take a little nibble of one or take all of one. They have different milligrams, 30 or 50 in each one of the bottles. It's up to you. That allows you to fall asleep a little bit more relaxed, and maybe by falling asleep quicker, you might get 30 minutes or 50 minutes or an hour and a half more sleep every night when you toss and turn otherwise. And, of course, they also have all what you need when it comes to cigars, the humidor to put them in, the torch lighter to light them, and the cutter to cut the end before you smoke your cigar. Don Humidor and coffee beans, a fresh aroma and flavors of that as well in the Town West Shopping Center off Valley Mills in Waco.
I hate my job, but I don't mind getting up in the morning. I dread each day, but I can't wait to get out of bed. You ask me why, and what I'll say to you is true. Well, you can get breakfast tacos at Rudy's Barbecue. Scrambled eggs and brisket, they ain't fooling around. Salsa drap, son, they're the best in town. Barbecue for breakfast, yes, it's true. Put a smile on your morning at Rudy's Barbecue. Next in line.
Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
One size fits all. That may be all right for an adjustable belt or cheap sunglasses, but when it comes to your financial needs, no one wants a one-size-fits-all strategy. Cam Heathcott, your Edward Jones financial advisor, knows that his most important goals are yours. That's why he takes the time to understand your needs, knowing you. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Cam Heathcott, covering Conroe and Houston, 936-756-7717 or cam.heathcott@edwardjones.com. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible challenge. Hi, this is Dan Ingham with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like First Free Checking, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. The First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physician of Baylor Athletics. Our doctors specialize in the diagnosis and treatment of any and all sports-related injuries. Celebrating over a decade of service in Central Texas, our doctors are equipped to handle a wide range of issues, whether it's your foot or ankle, orthopedic spine care, your hand or wrist, knee and shoulder pain, or if you're in need of our arthritis or total joint clinic. Come see us at the new Baylor Scott and White Ted and Sue Getterman Sports and Orthopedic Center. Trust the doctors at Baylor Trust, Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. Our goal is to get you back in the game.
Payments for qualified buyer were $4,000, 3.9% DTL, extra CD for details.
The 22-year anniversary sales event is going on now at Richard Carr. Make your refund or stimulus even bigger when you add savings like a 2019 Buick Encore for only $169 a month, a 2018 GMC Train for only $208 a month, a 2018 GMC Sierra for only $374 a month. 100% credit approval is always our goal. Get here now and save during the anniversary sales event going on now at Richard Carr.
At Richard Carr, we give you more.
With so many companies and policies out there, it gets so confusing shopping for insurance, and I never know if I'm getting the policy that's right for me. Luckily, I met the team at the Niche Group Insurance Agency. With the Niche Group, you can go to one company and get access to coverage options from many insurance carriers, and you get to speak to a real person about your specific coverage needs. With the Niche Group, I know I'm getting the right coverage at the right price. If you need insurance, talk to the experts at the Niche Group at 1-800-258-8302.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio.
Meyer, he averages 8. He has a nice spinning move right there. Meyer has been terrific with 15 points, 5 of 10.
The 4 o'clock hour is sponsored by Boozer's Jewelers, the wedding ring store, specializing in custom jewelry and repair, all in-house.
Now here's David Smoak, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoak.
Baylor Villanova Saturday, men up in Indianapolis. I'm flying up to Indy tonight. Broadcast from there tomorrow and maybe even into the week next week if things go well. And the Lady Bears, Michigan on Saturday at 2, down inside the Alamo Dome in San Antonio. Texas A&M women have now won back-to-back games to start this tournament with insanity endings. One against Troy when it looked like there was a couple of calls that went against Troy, which, of course, you protect maybe. They won the game. I like Gary Blair. We've known him for a long time. Knew him back when he was at Louisiana Tech as an assistant coach when I was at SFA. Kim played back then. He was at Arkansas. He's been a coach at SFA, my alma mater. He's been good at A&M. Won a national title back in 2011 when they, on the 4th time, beat Baylor in the regional final up in Dallas. But then last night, they're basically trailing Iowa State throughout the game. Iowa State, of course, with Fenley, very good. But they have 10 losses after such a great win against Baylor to start the year after Baylor, at the start of the actual year, when Baylor would come off a pause. But they're good. They're pretty good, although they didn't play well down the stretch. And Iowa State had this thing won like 50 times. And A&M scores just in time. They avoid a couple of shots, a lot of banging going on at the end of the game. The father of, I think it's Ashley Jones or whatever her name is, star player, 30 points, went nuts. I know, Paul, you were watching. He got up and they showed the cameras. He's marching up the stairs towards he is furious. I don't know who's listening to him. There's nobody there because there's not many people there. He was furious. And A&M eventually won the game at the buzzer in overtime. Here's the winning shot. Just threw it up off the glass. It goes in as the clock. Paul, you text me. You thought it was a dramatic ending. And that's Nixon who made the shot. She was fantastic. But there's a video of the father of Ashley Jones, and just absolutely furious. I got a question for you, and I mean this sincerely. Doesn't there seem to be even more anger and passion with those who follow women's basketball when it comes to the game and calls than there is, outwardly?
Yes.
Than there is in anything else. Why?
I don't know. Am
I right?
I could try to go into the psychology of the women's basketball fan. I think it's because their fans are older, and older people tend to get angrier about mundane things than younger people do.
What's old to you?
So,
what
I'm older than you. I'm older than you.
I'm 61 and 3/4.
Older than you.
Okay.
Why are older people attracted to it, do you think?
You and my I don't want to.
No, why don't? Are you worried about
here's
being
what
cancel
I'll tell you.
culture?
No. Because it's lower stakes. Because if you like a good team like Baylor,
Stanford,
you're going to go and if you're like UConn or Baylor or Tennessee or Stanford or all these teams, if you like a good women's basketball team, you're going to go and watch them win 90% of the time.
Yeah.
So you get that rush. You don't have to. Okay, even if you
But if that's the case, why are they so rabid? I've seen some lose their. You know what?
Because that's because if you win all the time, and then something bad happens.
Is there something psychologically
that wrecks you're like, well, it's not supposed to go this way.
Is it something psychological about following girls, women, sports?
And maybe people are more protective of
I think so.
Yeah, protective of it because of that. But I do think, and I'm not trying to. Look, I'm not trying to say women's basketball is bad, but I'm saying it's lower stakes when you like a good team. Look, Alabama wins all the time, but that in football, but that doesn't mean that their fans aren't white knuckling it all the time when they play a tough conference game.
But in truth, even though men's March Madness has more upsets and we have these double-digit seeds that are still playing, right? Oral Roberts, Syracuse, which is a blue blood, among some others. Women have had a few more, not many, but they've had the first day there was a few more. But you could put a hat around how many have a chance to truly win the national championship.
Yeah.
Is that not the same case in men's basketball? It's just a little bit longer, a wider sombrero.
Yeah, well, it's very true. The difference is in the tournament, you have more upsets in the tournament. Now, those upsets happen, and then ultimately Duke or UNC or Kansas or Kentucky when they have elite teams.
Those are the worst ones to use right now.
Historically, yes, the upsets happen, but that means one of those teams, Duke gets knocked out, but Kentucky still wins.
Yeah.
Isn't
that crazy? You just mentioned Duke, North Carolina, Kentucky, and Kansas, and none of them are relevant right now.
Yeah. So
at least this year.
Yeah, especially right at this moment in the Sweet 16. But But
254-339-1122.
But it doesn't happen in the women's tournament all that often. I know that we got Wright State one, and then you got a couple that happened the other day, and that's great for women's basketball. Those need to happen for the sport to grow, so people can tune in and watch. But most of it is pretty until you get to the Elite Eight, really, in women's basketball, you're not really going to get a lot of games. And I will just tell you the personal psychology of Baylor Lady Bear fans and the officials, which I can just talk about it just locally, is that some things are real incidents are built in. Brittany Griner, officials did not know how to call a Brittany Griner game. They straight up didn't. Because you would watch games and she could get hit across both arms as hard as you could think, and they'd be like, well, if we don't call that, then, or if we call everything, then Baylor's going to win by 100. They had to. It's like they were trying to wrap their heads around.
Plus, they weren't watching what was going on below from about her chest down because she was so much taller than most.
So she got mauled.
Getting pounded.
Look, her freshman year, she got in that fight with Jordan Barncastle, and that was about 22, 23 games into the season, right? And so I'm not, and again, not excusing what Brittany did, but if I had gone through a bunch of games where the strategy was hit Griner as much as you can.
And probably get away with it most of the time.
Yeah, I might have tossed somebody away as well. I mean,
you know what? Shaq, as big as a man as he is, a monster of a human being, there were things that because he was so big, there were times he was getting beat up, but he was so big, and a lot of things that he was getting hacked or whatever.
And then you go to, and I'll tell you where the psychosis of the officials really happened is in the Louisville game where, the Louisville strategy is the only one that beats Kim Mulkey. It's make as many miracle threes as you can and just chuck up threes from wherever if you get the open shot. And if you make them, that's going to keep you in the game. And 2, the officials have to play ball a little bit. And I say play ball, I mean, that's probably accusatory towards the officials, but you have to get officials that will let you mash and not call it. And that's been the strategy every time. The only team who maybe doesn't do that when they beat Kim is UConn. But UConn's different because they play position. They're one of the only teams in women's basketball that can play positionless basketball.
What is, in your opinion, this is a legitimate question. I was on with the station in Fayetteville bright and early this morning. If you had to rank the interest of Baylor spring football, Baylor men's basketball, and Baylor Lady Bears, and even with their standard, to me, it would be lopsided for men's basketball as the number one focus of interest, with all due respect to the rabid fans the Lady Bears have. To me, Baylor men's basketball, if you put up a poll of those 3, what's the most important? The most of interest right now, to me, it would blow all those other 2 out of the water. Would you agree?
Yeah. And plus, they're on the verge of doing something that's never been done before, and that's why.
Okay, then that's my next question. 254-339-1122. Jimmy asked us on the text line. Based on the history of Baylor men's basketball, would this season be considered a success if they lose a game this weekend?
I would say that you'd have to consider it a 6. Well, you know what? I'm going to say no. It'd be a disappointment just on the same standard that we put on Kim's team when they lost to A&M. So, I mean, and the question that Bryce Cherry asked, and that kind of resonated with Kim for a long time. But yeah, it would be a disappointment. Now, you have to always put things in historical context. But look, I'm going to be disappointed. Bottom line, if we don't see Gonzaga and Baylor in the final. I want to see the 2 best teams play. I mean, they're the 2 most talented and deepest teams. Now, that doesn't mean that they couldn't both lose. I mean, shoot, we could see Houston and Alabama in the championship game. We don't know. I mean, that's why they play these games. But, I think most of the basketball world would be disappointed if we don't get the matchup we've been waiting for.
Armstrong, what to me or to you, if they don't win and get through the weekend to a Final Four Baylor men's basketball, which is going to be hard to do. They're playing a blue blood in Villanova, 2 of the last 4 national titles, no matter what's happened to Colin Gillespie. And then after that, then you're a heavy favorite against either Oral Roberts or Arkansas. But they're still there for a reason. If they don't get to a Final Four, it's not a failure, but will it be, is that the standard of what you expect from them? Will that scratch the itch if they don't by winning the Big 12 regular season title?
It would be not. I mean, having a championship would be a win for the season. I think you could reasonably move on and say, okay. But I think what has to happen for Baylor to lose, in my opinion, is they could play all right and still win and get to the Final Four. Like, they'd have to have like a dud of a game, and that would make you seriously question: does Scott Drew choke in March? Like, is that a thing? Like, because he does not have that postseason success that you would like him to have. And so if Baylor comes out and just plays a complete dud of a game and loses, not because they're not better, but because just something happens.
When you say that about him,
that would make it.
I don't know if anyone prepares their team as well. I mean, there may be somebody who do it as well. But you see all these things that were being said. Now, if they lose to Villanova.
That's going to happen. I'm not saying that's going to happen.
No, but if they lose to Villanova, isn't that on the players? 6 of 28 against Oklahoma State. What could Scott Drew have done better in that game? I'm just.
Yeah, no, you're right.
If you look at the Sweet 16s and the Elite Eights that they've...
When R.J. Hunter and Georgia State beat them, I remember the day I was hosting the show that afternoon. Paul was it Florida, wherever that game was?
Yeah.
I remember that show was dominated by some of that chatter, and that's been a long time ago now. And there were thoughts that, man, can he only get him to a certain level? I think he's proven he can do much more than that, but it's sure as hell you don't hear the Scott Drew can't coach. But as soon as he loses a big game, you might see that again.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that.
But I also think you have to look at, of the Sweet 16s and Elite Eights that they've lost, so they lose.
Kentucky and Duke.
Well, I mean, the Kentucky team wasn't going to lose. I mean, they wouldn't have lost to the Monstars from Space Jam. I mean, they were that good. So they were unbelievable. They didn't. I mean, and
the Duke game was a bang call, but they lost.
Yeah.
But that's Duke, and they won the national title.
And then the Sweet 16, they lost to Wisconsin.
Who went on to play?
Yeah, who was the biggest? Frank the Tank at Wisconsin. Yeah. He was there.
Whatever.
He was
Kaminsky.
Frank Kaminsky. Yeah, and then they lost to a South Carolina team in New York that night was like a swarm of bees. I mean, that's how they played the whole night.
They did not play well that night, and there was some chatter after that too.
But
Frank Martin.
Frank Martin had that South Carolina team played defense, and it was seriously, every time you came down the floor, it was like you knocked over another beehive, and they're just all over you. And it's from the beginning that it wasn't a good thing. So, of those games that they've lost to 2 Sweet 16s and 2 Elite 8s, where they've exited. Only one of them, I would say, were they probably the better team going into the matchup. And the Duke game, they got robbed. So, and you look, yes, Yale and Georgia State will stick out in your mind forever. But that's also March.
Turn on the phone line, please, if you don't mind, so we can get some response from people who texted me now saying they're trying to get in. Stephen, thank you very much. It's something that it will be interesting. It will be interesting to see what happens. If they don't survive. But Villanova, you heard now Fran Fraschilla. We've heard LaFonso Ellis, Seth Greenberg, others. This is Doug Gottlieb. Villanova's Villanova. It's kind of like, man.
All right. I do not think that we are going to see Craig and Grayson in this hour.
All right, that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay. They're running a little bit late.
They just got out in the field.
All right, that's fine. And if they do come back, we have Mickey coming up in 20 minutes, and then Katie Stager-Smith, volleyball analyst for Baylor. They play Texas tomorrow night. Number 2, Texas at home, who they beat last year at home, Texas, for the first time ever. And then Baylor, number 6 in the country as well. 254-339-1122 is the number to call. Also, from Scotty B, my 3. Men's basketball is my first interest. Women's basketball is number 2, and then spring football. I would think it's got to be men's basketball, spring football, because there was none last year, and because it's football. And then the Lady Bears. And that doesn't mean you're, like, pushing them out. Doesn't mean you're like, women's basketball. That's not it. Men are trying to set records they've never been able to do since the late 40s when they went into the championship game against Kentucky. And it's been a methodical run to where they are. It's been a methodical marathon to where they are 18 years later. It's not like if this would have been 2003 when Kim won her first, or whenever the year that she won her first 5 or whatever it was, that's different. Mm-hmm. Because it would have been such a feel-good thing. It was a feel-good thing 2 years ago. I was in Tampa. I know the interest in Lady Bears basketball here. There's no question it's massive. But if you had to put the 3, I might put that up. And you know what? People might lose their mind trying to vote on that.
Well, look, I would think that it's...
I know what it would be at 90% of...
men's basketball, women's basketball, and... spring football is nice, but there's no stakes in spring football. There's not a real game.
You want to tell everybody that has a football program that's in the Blue Bloods that spring football is not important?
I'm not saying it's not. But there's no.
If I asked Alabama fans, is Alabama's run to the Sweet 16 or spring drills more important?
Why would spring drills?
It's
spring
Alabama
practice.
Football.
Yeah, but if the spring game, there's no stakes on that. This is real. This matters. Spring football is nice. It's good. It's important for the program to get better. But as far as fan interest in it,
this year,
get one game that's not even a real game that doesn't count. It's a glorified practice. So
we'll agree to disagree on that.
And listen,
wait a minute. You said what you said. In some places, even when they have basketball teams that are still alive, spring football is still more. If Texas had won, beaten Abilene Christian, and then beaten UCLA, and spring drills were going down in Austin, you mean to tell me that Shaka Smart and the Longhorns would be more important than spring drills with Sarkisian?
I get it. I'm just telling you that those people are wrong, because you can run around the depth chart all day long, and it's still just a practice.
Not if that's what their best sport is or favorite. Certain places,
but they don't get to go to that. They don't get to watch it. They don't get to watch it until the last day. So this is going on in real time.
Look at the premium section of our website.
Oh, I get it. Look, I know I'm in the minority. I think recruiting and spring football and all that stuff is kind of mundane. I want the real season. But I'm in the minority. I get it. I'm just telling you, I think those people are wrong.
All right, 254-339-1122, the number to call, and also the text line as well. What, in your opinion, in the three stories going on now, Baylor men's basketball Sweet 16, Lady Bears Sweet 16, or Baylor spring drills for the first time under Dave Aranda, and the fact there was none last year? How would you put those three in order of your preference of importance right now?
Yeah. By the way, Steven, looks like he gets through and it just drops. So, but yeah, I realize, like, working for the site that we do, and I read our site and recruiting, and it's great. Like, it's very informative. I just find that kind of tedious and mundane, personally, because, I don't care what high school kids do until they get to a point, when they're in college. Like, I care what they're doing when we're covering a high school game, but it doesn't matter to me. Like,
when Trey Wisner received I'm
having fun with that, but ultimately that kid's going to do what he wants to do, what's best for him. I want good players to go to my alma mater, but ultimately talk to me about it the day that they sign, because up until then, I don't need to get involved in the drama of what a 17-year-old kid wants to do with his life.
Go to Baylor, whose team was 2-7 last year, to the site, and look at how many of the stories are about spring drills and recruiting. And that's a 2-7 team that's trying to bounce back. It's not even Alabama or Oklahoma or Ohio State. No, no one's wrong.
No, but
you're saying they're wrong. No one's wrong. Everyone has a right to whatever they want to put as a priority of how it goes. So that's part of. I'm going to put that up. I'll be interested because the Lady Bears, how passionate the fans are, might overwhelm that poll.
Spring football is almost imaginary to me.
We are in Texas, though.
Yeah,
like high school football recruits, it's bigger in Texas.
No, I'm talking about spring drills. Yeah, but in Alabama,
you keep using Baylor and Sic'em as an example, but I think we're part of that part of the country where there's going to be more.
Maybe the entire South.
Maybe.
Yeah, I just to me, spring football is kind of imaginary. Like who's going to be this? Who's going to be that? Well, tell me. September 1st.
If Will Wade and LSU had survived that game with I forgot who they played. There was a hell of a finish. Had they won their game and they were playing this weekend in Baton Rouge, what would be the highest priority? Ed Orgeron spring drills or Will Wade in men's basketball? You think Will Wade? All right, Cole. All right, 254-339-1122. Steven, we get him?
Yeah.
All right,
Steven, you're on SicEm365 Radio. Good afternoon. Cole, pot him up there. There we go. All right. Steven, go ahead. I think Steven's having cell phone issues. Yeah, we're not getting you, Steven. You're in a bad spot.
Steven, we apologize. 254-339-1122. I'm going to put this up. I have no idea how it goes. Of the three things that are right now of the most top of mind for Baylor athletics fans, even though, yes, I know baseball, softball, I get all that. But the three things right now, which of these three are most top of mind for you? Scott Drew and Baylor men's basketball in Indianapolis, Kim Mulkey, Lady Bears in San Antonio, or spring drills at Baylor? And there might be a little edge, a maybe bump, when there may not normally be with Baylor spring drills because of the fact there was none, the quarterback change in competition, and also the fact that you've had so many new coaches to try to influence what they can do on offense. I could be blown away by this. I understand how this could be overwhelmed by the Lady Bears fans. I get it. There's a locked-in thing there. In my opinion, I think the poll will end up this way. I don't know the percentages. Men's basketball, spring drills, and Lady Bears. And Lady Bears fans that don't get offended by that. It's a legitimate question. If you want to answer it, you yourself can get on the poll. I'll put it up on the timeline here in just a second.
Yeah, I guess I can frame it like this. Spring drills for football to me is it's educational. And I'm interested in it from an educational standpoint. I'm in no way entertained by it or find it fun. I mean, I find it important, but it's not. None of spring drills is on the final exam, right? It's kind of like the first. So to me,
if you were in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, I guarantee you that's more important to people there than the fact Alabama's in the Sweet 16.
I'm not saying you're wrong there. I'm just describing, I don't understand it because, again, it's a thought exercise. It's where basketball's real. Like, it's right now, it's a stake. Like,
well, wait a minute. How tied up do you get in the draft?
Not as much as I used to when I was younger.
I'm not trying to put you on the spot here, but you slobber on that. And you love training camps and mini camps, and it's the same thing.
Oh, I don't like training camp is more, again, it's educational. It's educational, but I don't watch a lot of the
training camp for the NFL is spring drills for college.
But I don't watch a lot of the practices anymore because I find it kind of like, I'd rather talk. Like, here's the thing I like about spring, that we get to talk to players and you get to learn things about individuals and like where their head's at. But I can go out. One of the things I went to, we've been to all those training camps and I love going, but it's more educational for me on getting to know players and coaches.
Why can't that be a part of it being more of an interest then?
It's not like in the draft. I'm intrigued in free agency in the draft on kind of a business sense of it.
In a priority, if the men's basketball team or women win a national title, that trumps whatever they accomplish in spring drills. I get that far as because that's a title, that's a banner, it's a trophy.
But if you're asking me, but you're also asking me to prioritize it against something else. So if like spring football was the only thing going on, then yeah, of course it would be top of mind for me, and I'd be more.
But
interested
I wouldn't ask the question if it was just spring drills.
But see, if you're comparing it to something that's happening right now, so then look, it's right now. Like, this is real big stakes for the men and women. I mean, this is why you do it. This is why they have fall practice.
If this would have been year 1 or 2 under Rule, or maybe year 3 or 8 under Bryles. The reason why spring drills to me this year for Baylor is because last year they were terrible and huge coaching changes at very important spots, and because the quarterback situation is going to change. It's going to be somebody different, and we saw what that was a lightning rod discussion and topic last year.
Yeah, and again, my view on training camp and spring football has probably changed, and a lot of that's due to social media, right? And part of that is that I got really tired of, like, I'd be sitting at practice watching it, and then I look down at my phone, and it's like, oh, look, Des Bryant just caught a pass. Well, who cares? He's supposed to. It's practice. What? Who cares that the 5th guy on the roster scored a touchdown? It's practice. Doesn't matter. It's just tweeting to tweet. So I guess part of that's probably an annoyance to me. So we got to go to break and get to Mickey.
You got a call here?
Yeah, let's if we can get him on. All right, Steven. Let's see if it gets through here. Come on. Steven.
From Virginia.
There you go.
Hey, guys. Do you have me?
Yes.
I was about to come on here and say how excited I was for spring football until Paul made a logical argument about how spring football doesn't matter that much and it's not the final thing on the exam. So now I'm trying to refigure out what I was going to say. I guess it was I can't be really focused on the basketball team every single day of the week. Otherwise, I will kill myself. Like, they're in the Sweet 16. This has never happened before. So, like, I'm really excited, and I have to wait until, like, Friday or Saturday. Otherwise, the anticipation and the nervousness will mess with me. So, like, during the week, I'm probably more into spring football. But, like, tomorrow's Friday, so I'm probably going to start getting nervous around then tomorrow.
All right. That the timing of it. Today maybe spring drills because they're not playing until Saturday, both of them. Saturday you wake up, I would think that the first thing you think about is the men's game with Villanova, the women's game with Michigan. And, oh, yeah, by the way, it's like day 4 of spring drills. Yesterday was the opening day, so maybe it's more top of mind. That's a good point. I'm going to put up today on what's going on like right now for the week. But that's a very good way to look at it. Stephen, thanks for your time. Appreciate that. 254-339-1122, the number to call, and also the number to text as well. Let's see here. Jimmy's the one, by the way, Blower, who's the one that asked about what would be considered a success for Baylor men's basketball. If they lose this weekend, will the season be considered successful? I say yes because they won the Big 12 regular season title. That still means you can be successful, but you can be disappointed. Yeah. Because this is a Final Four type team, and especially since you lost that opportunity last year as well. When we come back, Mickey Spagnola, DallasCowboys.com. After that, we'll hear from Katie Stager-Smith, Baylor volleyball analyst, former All-American. And then also, we'll have Alvin Brooks III, Jeremy Hefner, and Kyle Robarts in San Antonio on what it's like to be a parent in a bubble and not be able to see your family. This is SicEm365 Radio.
If you're in the market for a new home or trying to buy or trying to sell the one you've got, you need to contact my good friend Lance Donaldson and the Donaldson family team, brokered by eXp Realty, 254-214-3713. Lance has got a great family. He's about to be a grandfather. He's got 2 young daughters that are just amazing. He's got a great son. They're a great family. So he's a family man who gets kind of that wild family life. And believe me, it's hectic. He understands it. So he understands what it's going to take when you're trying to figure out what kind of home you want for your family in the future, what kind of dream home you need as your family expands or maybe shrinks because they're going off to college. That's the kind of guy that Lance Donaldson is. And Lance, he'll help you find that dream home. He'll help you get a great deal. He'll help you get a great deal on the one you're selling. That's what he's about. He's about you. He's about finding out your needs, and he's got a kind of a knack of figuring out things that you maybe didn't even know you always wanted. So give him a call, 254-214-3713. That's 254-214-3713.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction. With a team of 28 experienced agents who are excited about serving you, Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
After my first car accident, I feared the biggest damage would be to my wallet. I expected a mountain of bills and a long, drawn-out process. But my Texas Farm Bureau insurance agent was there when I needed her and helped me get back on my feet and in my car in no time. Instead of a hassle, I got reassurance and a quick recovery.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
One size fits all. That may be all right for an adjustable belt or cheap sunglasses, but when it comes to your financial needs, no one wants a one-size-fits-all strategy. Ben Erlinson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, knows that his most important goals are yours. That's why he takes the time to understand your needs, knowing you. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Ben Erlinson, 100 North 6th Street in Waco, 254-759-8533. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Born in Waco, Brotherwell Brewing exists to serve the Central Texas community with locally crafted beer of the highest quality. They want to bring Central Texas closer to the brewing experience so everyone can enjoy well-made beer as much as they do. For 2.5 years, they've been bringing high-quality beer to Central Texas at their location on Bridge Street in East Waco. Brotherwell Brewing believes in community and bringing people together to enjoy products made in their community. So for your game day, whether it's a tailgate or at home, stop by Brotherwell Brewing for high-quality craft beer made right here in Central Texas, 400 East Bridge Street, and check them out online at brotherwell.com.
Stepping into a new pair of boots is great, but stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can also add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. There are more than 150 occupational specialties to help them find the best fit for their future. See all the things your son or daughter can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible and rewarding challenge. Hi, everyone. This is Dan Ingham with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like mortgage lending, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. The First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Don's Humidor, your home with a 48-foot walk-in humidor with the elite cigar brands from around the world, including the #1 cigar of the year, Aging Room Cuatro Nicaragua. Plus, they have the great brands like Macanudo and Artur Fuente, Rocky Patel, Aston, and so much more. CBD, great for sore muscles, aches and pains, sleep, Vita Dreams, and anxiety, mild depression, general health and wellness. Their staff very knowledgeable on the subject. If anyone is curious about CBD, ask Carol and Ashley. Don's Humidor in the Townwood Shopping Center off Valley Mills in Waco.
And on second down, it's Williams up the middle. Short of the first, the ball is out. It's scooped up by the Cowboys. Cowboys on the run up the field. Aldon Smith motoring to the other end, and Aldon Smith will take it in for a Dallas touchdown.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio. It's time for our weekly segment with Mickey Spagnola of DallasCowboys.com. Brought to you by the First National Bank of Central Texas, with 5 locations to serve you.
Mike McCarthy today met with the media, many things, answered questions, some free agent acquisitions, and also those who might either be leaving or, I don't know, but those who are now a part of the team. Mickey Spagnola, DallasCowboys.com, joins us. Mickey, anything in particular from what Mike McCarthy said that stood out to you?
Well, I think a couple things. First of all, that's the first time we've had an opportunity to talk to him in person, I think, since the guys went to the 2020 Combine a year ago, February. So it's been a long time since we've actually been in the same room with him and asked questions, and it wasn't a Zoom deal. A couple of things stood out. I think, number one, that they're encouraged by the progress their starting offensive tackles, La'el Collins and Tyron Smith, have made after their surgeries. I could vouch for that, seeing them doing their rehab work on the field. That had such an impact. Their absence had such an impact on this offense this past year. Just to have those guys back, I think, will be huge. I thought him pointing out, and well, he should have, that his number one focus is on the defense and fixing that, and him alluding to he thinks the hiring of Dan Quinn will definitely make an impact on how this defense plays, and that it needs to be more consistent and play better. And then the fact that they're still looking at veteran guys to possibly come in to replace Andy Dalton as the backup quarterback. So, yeah, there was a lot of ground he covered, including, as you mentioned, talking about personnel, guys that might be here, might not be here. There's been all the reports of the Cowboys moving on from Aldon Smith, and I don't know if he was just kind of covering up or what, but he said we just had discussions about him yesterday, and I think it's a fluid situation. So we'll see where exactly where that one goes.
Mickey, Tyrone Crawford retiring. That guy's been the Cowboys for a long time. There's some new blood. I mean, LP Lauderdale, Tyrone Crawford gone. Well, what do you think Tyrone Crawford's lasting legacy with the Cowboys would be?
Oh, I think he was a very good soldier. Kind of knew this was coming. It was just a matter of when he was going to announce it. And I guess Mike beat him to the punch today. But yeah, just a guy that overcame so many different injuries during his career and was versatile enough and a team guy enough. I could remember years where, he'd come to training camp and he would bulk up because he's going to play defensive tackle. And then out of need, they had to move him to defensive end. And he probably needed to shed some weight. And then there was times where he was going to come to play defensive end, and they had an injury inside and they had to move him to defensive tackle. And he never complained. I remember one year I asked him, so what are you, a tackle or an end? He goes, I don't know. Maybe at some point they'll tell me. So I think that's been his value to this team. And the fact that, he tried, he was contemplating retiring after he found out that he was going to have dual hip surgeries last year in the off season. And then after he had the surgeries, it was like, no, I'm going to prove I can come back. And he did. Now, did he play at his previous level? Probably not. But boy, he tried. So yeah, good guy to see, and he's going, as you mentioned, they moved on from LP Lauderdale, which puts a heck of a lot of pressure on this new guy, McQuaid, because the first time he has a bad snap, it's going to be the first time they've had a bad snap in 17 seasons, right?
Yep.
So I don't know how much they thought about that, moving on from him, and then we'll see what happens with Sean Lee if he decides he wants to come back, if they think he needs to come back. I think Sean's pretty realistic about his play, probably felt like he didn't play to the level he was used to playing. So we'll see what happens there. But, yeah, a lot of the guys that have been here for quite some time, off the top of my head, I'm thinking Tyron Smith probably be the longest, length of time with the Cowboys when they get back here.
Now, Mickey, the safeties have all those safeties who have visited, because we know Neal's going to end up most likely working out the linebacker position. But the safeties who they had in town, anything new with any of those? Is there any kind of a push for Hooker or the others that were involved?
I think Hooker's probably out. They appear to have come to a 1-year agreement with Curse. And then I think they would like to get the deal done with Kazee. I think maybe that one will depend on somebody else going to make them a better offer than what the Cowboys made to them. They've got Neal, Keanu Neal signed a 1-year deal. And the key thing on that one is, and you can see what they're doing. So I'm told it's a solid. It got reported 1 year up to $5 million. Well, it's a solid 1 year, $4 million. And they put two voidable years in there so they could spread out the $3 million signing bonus to $1 million in each year and give them a $1 million base salary this year. So basically, they're paying $2 million for a guy that likely will start, and we'll see where he starts. Right? That Mike said that he would start working with the linebackers because they know he can play safety. And I looked up his size, you guys, and I understand he's a hard hitter and all that. He's 6'2", 211. So I'll be interested to see where he fits in. If he's just a guy that comes in and takes over one of the nickel linebacker spots, but you know what? That's no bigger than Xavier Woods was last year. I know Xavier probably wasn't 211, but he was at least 200 pounds. So I'll be curious to see how that one works out. And then, how they will work in with Jalen Smith and Leighton Vander Esch at the linebacker spot. I still think they need help at linebacker. And I think they need it in the draft. So we'll see if they agree with me.
Mickey, thank you very much. Appreciate your time. Mickey Spagnola, of course, the Cowboys in Frisco, and going through whatever they can to kind of readjust their roster to get it ready as they move in towards the draft. Mickey Spagnola, Thursdays with us on SicEm365 Radio. It's 4:47, either in the next segment, Katie Stager-Smith on Baylor, number 6 against number 2 Texas. It depends on Craig and Grayson, if they're back or not, on whether they can come in and help us with what they saw today at practice, and Craig just came back. So that's next on SicEm365 Radio. Pioneer Steel and Pipe, open Monday through Friday, and if you can't get there Monday through Friday, open 8 to noon on Saturdays, locations in Waco and in Bryan. And metal buildings, metal roofing, pipe and steel, structural pipe, structural steel, purlin, tubing, beams, and weld plates, H-braces and fence posts, culverts, and also gates, sheet and expanded metal. Pioneer Steel and Pipe since 1943. Nearly 80 years in business, and they continue to go very, very strong. They have been through all of whatever you could imagine in the United States when it comes to the economy and being a business, and look at where they are nearly 80 years later, as strong as ever, despite some of the distribution hits that you have to take along the way recently in the last year with COVID. They are there for you. Pioneer Boys, they want to make sure when you leave, you felt like you were the only one inside that building, although everyone else is being taken care of as well. Pioneer Boys, Waco and Bryan, Saturday 8 to noon, Monday through Friday. If you can't make it then, there's the Saturday time, pioneerboys.com.
Let
Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction. With a team of 28 experienced agents who are excited about serving you, Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
After my first car accident, I feared the biggest damage would be to my wallet. I expected a mountain of bills and a long, drawn-out process. But my Texas Farm Bureau insurance agent was there when I needed her and helped me get back on my feet and in my car in no time. Instead of a hassle, I got reassurance and a quick recovery.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
One size fits all. That may be all right for an adjustable belt or cheap sunglasses, but when it comes to your financial needs, no one wants a one-size-fits-all strategy. Ben Erlinson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, knows that his most important goals are yours. That's why he takes the time to understand your needs, knowing you. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Ben Erlinson, 100 North 6th Street in Waco, 254-759-8533. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Born in Waco, Brotherwell Brewing exists to serve the Central Texas community with locally crafted beer of the highest quality. They want to bring Central Texas closer to the brewing experience so everyone can enjoy well-made beer as much as they do. For 2.5 years, they've been bringing high-quality beer to Central Texas at their location on Bridge Street in East Waco. Brotherwell Brewing believes in community and bringing people together to enjoy products made in their community. So for your game day, whether it's a tailgate or at home, stop by Brotherwell Brewing for high-quality craft beer made right here in Central Texas, 400 East Bridge Street, and check them out online at brotherwell.com.
Stepping into a new pair of boots is great, but stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can also add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. There are more than 150 occupational specialties to help them find the best fit for their future. See all the things your son or daughter can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible and rewarding challenge. Hi, everyone. This is Dan Ingham with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like mortgage lending, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. The First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Don Humidor, your home with a 48-foot walk-in humidor with the elite cigar brands from around the world, including the #1 cigar of the year, Aging Room Cuatro Nicaragua. Plus, they have the great brands like Macanudo and Artur Fuente, Rocky Patel, Aston, and so much more. CBD, great for sore muscles, aches and pains, sleep, Vita Dreams, and anxiety, mild depression, general health and wellness. Their staff very knowledgeable on the subject. If anyone is curious about CBD, ask Carol and Ashley. Don Humidor in the Townwest Shopping Center off Valley Mills in Waco.
And on second down, it's Williams up the middle. Short of the first, the ball is out. It's scooped up by the Cowboys. On the run up the field, Aldon Smith motoring to the other end, and Aldon Smith will take it in for a Dallas touchdown.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio. It's time for our weekly segment with Mickey Spagnola of DallasCowboys.com. Brought to you by the First National Bank of Central Texas, with 5 locations to serve you.
All right. I get to check a mark off of Armstrong's bad job sheet for the first time ever. But Paul, Catalina, Craig Smoak. Smokey's off to Indianapolis. Grayson sneak on by. Grayson and Craig were just at practice. They're about to go back out there. But Craig, today, what was different about today, if anything, that you gleaned from practice?
There was a
lot less people out there. I'd say the energy levels were good, but I wouldn't say they were to the levels of like yesterday. And I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean that like yesterday was the first day. Yesterday was like the big start. You know, everybody was just fired up to be out there and fired up to be around people and fired up to breathe fresh air and all that. So I think today it was just kind of like, all right, now we're settling in, and now we're just getting down to practice, and it's not like, oh, we're here again. That's gone now. At least that's how I felt. And it was just a practice. It was just them going through individual drills and a lot of special teams early on. Saw a lot of that. But yeah, it was just kind of not calm in like a negative way or anything. It was a practice. It was a regular old practice. And yesterday was the kickoff.
Yeah. I'm very, I think the most, and you guys missed this, but we had a question about what people are most excited about, men's basketball, women's basketball, spring football. And I said, well, I mean, to me, it would be men's and women's basketball, you know, in whatever order you are a fan of those things, because spring football to me is, you know, it's not real stakes yet, you know. But the things that do intrigue me about it are, do you kind of get a sense of position groupings yet or depth chart, or is that still pretty abstract?
Grayson might be able to do more of that because I have not paid real close attention to, you know, sort of we know that, who was it? Was Zeno's taking QB1 reps yesterday?
Yeah, see, that's what I mentioned. You know, he was going first.
Yeah.
Now, does that mean he's the QB1? Does that mean he's just jumping up in front to, you know, establish some leadership there? I don't know the answer to that. I don't know that anyone knows the answer to that except for the coaches. But he was going first, and he did it again today, which I found pretty interesting. I mean, Charlie went first all his years when he was a guy. So I think that's definitely worthy of note. I also mentioned Lorando Johnson yesterday. He is officially playing the star position, which is Jalen Petry's position. Obviously came in as a possible cornerback, safety, so he's locked into a role. Garmin Randolph, who was a big defensive end type, I would say, he's playing more jack this year, so that's kind of another interesting one.
He's like 6'6",
265. Yeah, he's a big dude. So playing that position, I found that to be rather interesting. But in hindsight, William Bradley King was like 255 and was playing the jack position at times. It was weird last year because I don't think they really had someone that was like, he's going to play the jack position perfectly the way we want him to. But William Bradley King can get after the quarterback, so we're just going to throw him out there and have him go get after the quarterback and do what he does. So I think they're going to refine that position a little bit more with Ashton Logan, Victor Obi, Garmin Randolph, guys like that. And Matt Jones at middle linebacker now instead of Jack. So that's another intriguing one.
Yeah, Victor Obi, he can fill out some more, but he's got some great size. He was one of the more physically impressive guys, I would say, out there, just in terms of his height and the room to grow still, and he's already, one of probably the better looking guys out there. He's just not filled out all the way, but he's impressive, man. I mean, if his talent level can match like his physique and what it can be, then he'll be a really good player. But Siaki Ika, seeing him today again, just all tatted up and monstrous. I mean, he's a difference maker for sure. But yeah, it was just a little different from yesterday, but not in any way do I say that as a negative.
Yeah, and again, you guys can pretty much just watch individual drills, right? You haven't seen any team stuff yet?
So today was interesting. So they start off with special teams, and then you kind of see in the background Jeff Grimes and Eric Mateos kind of sneak off, and they're like, we're going to put the offensive line over here. We got some other work to do. So they snuck off. The defensive line snuck off into their groups. The one thing that was kind of, I guess, team-oriented, but not really, was the quarterbacks worked with the running backs on, handoff drills and things like that, along with pass protection. So that was an interesting thing that we got to see today, kind of two positions working together outside of just, the quarterback throwing the ball to the wide receiver, the tight end.
Yeah, we haven't seen any team stuff. Like, we haven't seen any 7-on-7 or anything like that. Maybe we'll see that on Saturday, perhaps, because we don't have anything tomorrow, right?
No open window Saturday.
Oh, there's no open window.
No, it's just interviews. We do get one per week is what I think is going to happen. Okay. So next week we'll probably get one more.
Okay, so this week was two for kind of the sake of starting it out, and then it'll be one.
I think they missed us. I think they missed us over there. I think everybody missed everybody, quite frankly, because they were really appreciative. Even the players. I typically don't think they probably care less about us, but even they were like, "Hey, it's good to have you guys around." So that's what tells you the
normalcy, right?
And Connor Galvin was like even happy to see us, and that guy doesn't like doing interviews, but he could say whatever he wants. He was happy to see the media. He was laughing and smiling. Jalen Petrie loved it, and Terrell Bernard even wanted to come over, and it seemed like he was ready to get in and do an interview. But I'm sure
is he wearing a red shirt right now?
No.
He's full. He's full go as far as I can tell.
Drake Dabney's full to go. There were rumors about him.
That's something you mentioned yesterday, both of you guys, that the red jersey crew is pretty small.
I actually made a note, and the thing about the red jersey crew is they don't have numbers on. That's the hard part. But there were 2 yellow jerseys and 5 red jerseys. So that's actually pretty good. 5 red, I think, are more off limits. Like, that's what Squirrel Williams is wearing, and we did spot Squirrel and made sure that it was him. He's the tiniest dude out there. When they broke off to go outside, he stayed inside and did whatever he's doing that he can do. But
no knee brace.
Yeah, no knee brace. We were both talking about that. So, I mean, not please, folks, don't get your hopes up that he's going to be like playing game 1 or anything like that. We're not going to talk about him too much because he's got a long road ahead of him. But it was interesting to at least see him out there and that active. But yeah, there was the whatever the numbers I just mentioned, like the 5 red, 2 yellows. Those were the injury jerseys that I saw, and typically it's like in the 10s or the whatever. So they're actually pretty healthy right now, although I couldn't spot exactly who every single guy was that was, kind of off limits or whatever.
Yeah, there were a couple, like I think Jackson Kimball, I'm pretty sure he was one of them.
Yeah,
and Squirrel.
Michael Maskua,
he's sitting now, but he wasn't even wearing red. He actually was wearing a white shirt with his name on it. I wanted to thank him. I wanted to tell all the other red jersey guys to do the same thing.
They should do a roll call for you guys.
Right, I think so too. Yeah,
just a roll call of just those 5 or 7 guys. Not everybody.
Yeah.
But it's just 5 or 7 guys. Grayson, anything that Dave Aranda said yesterday kind of jump out to you for day one?
Oh, man. He was very upbeat about the practice, which, I mean, is to be expected first day. So I didn't take too much away from that. I will say it was one of the more excited moments I've seen from him since he's been at Baylor. So that was really cool. I will say he mentioned his 3 pillars for what they wanted to do, or goals, I guess, which I found rather interesting. I don't remember all 3 off the top of my head. I think one was set the standard, but there were 2 other ones.
Did you write about that at all?
Huh?
Did you write about that at all? His 3 standards?
I didn't. Did you?
No, I guess I will. I'll mention it if you don't mind.
No.
Okay,
go for it.
I'll mention it in the notes afterwards to clarify for everybody.
Because he had his 3 things. I think those were pretty important. The cohesiveness of the staff seems great. I mean, he overall, it was really positive. Everything he was saying, nothing too negative.
I want you guys' opinion on this. And again, Fedora and Munoz and all that. I think this year he has the staff that he probably ideally wanted before, right?
I would
on
agree
offense.
with that.
I mean, the defense, he only had to change like a guy.
Well,
but
guys, in fairness, he didn't have a lot of time with the first hirings. And, I mean, so you're going to have some mistakes. I think it's amazing that he decided, you know what, 1 year in, I'm correcting those mistakes in a hurry. And Jeff Grimes, that guy is all over the place with the offense, with the offensive line, with the tight ends. He hasn't swung by the quarterbacks yet. I'm waiting for that. But
Sean told him he's got it handled.
Oh, well, there you go. Yeah.
Sean looks at home too. Yeah. He looks at home. I mean, he was working with the quarterbacks before. Don't get it twisted. It just title was different, but he's the quarterbacks coach. And
I do think though, and we asked Sean this about coaching the other positions like he has. This is going to make him a way better quarterback coach.
Sure.
Because he's going to have that. He's going to have that mentality now of that. And I think the one of the things I liked about Matt Rule's staff, and the one thing I can see on this staff budding, is that there are young guys or there are future head coaches. Like I think Sean Bell's a future head coach.
Oh yeah.
I think Chancey Stuckey is either a future head coach or one of those like coordinators that everybody wants. Eventually.
Jeff Grimes is a future head coach.
Jeff Grimes. Eric Mateos is a future head coach.
Very well could be,
those guys are future head coaches.
Joey McGuire.
Joey McGuire is in the near future a college head coach.
I mean, I'd say like the only guy that, or only guys you probably wouldn't put in that category actually because the coaching staff is so young. Like Juice Johnson could be a future head coach for all we know. It really would be like Ron Roberts, he could be. And he could be. Yeah. I'm just saying like at this point, age-wise, he might not be interested in restarting something in an entire program. So he would be a guy who I'd kind of asterisk, but pretty much everybody else.
Yeah. Like on the old staff, the only one I would say is Phil Snow, because look, if he could have done it, he would have done it, 25 years ago, or he wanted to, he would have done that then. So yeah, I think they've got guys who are growing. And again, you've got young coaches that are growing into roles. And I think you'll continue to see that with this staff.
Yeah, I would agree with that for sure. And I mean, the old staff. I mean, I don't want to. Mike Saravo. I think he could be a head coach. I mean, there definitely were guys. I mean, Evan Cooper as he moves up the ladder. But yeah, this staff very impressive. And people forget, like, even Meatball Johnson. Dude's a great coach. I mean, I'm sitting there watching him, and he is just really getting these guys going. And I had them actually got to watch them a little bit hitting the sled. I didn't see that much, in media times in the past. So seeing some physicality being brought to that position, that's going to be huge moving forward.
Yeah, they were not physical last year.
No,
they were pushovers physically versus most teams last year in the wide receiver group. So yeah, they probably need to hit the sled a few times. And I think just an overall toughening up is in order and is being worked on right now. I just think everybody knows what they're doing. Like, last year was just so confusing. Like, what offense are they running? Like, who's the O-line?
What are they running this year, Craig?
The wide zone.
Wide zone.
They're running the freaking wide zone. That is your answer. And that they mentioned it multiple times yesterday. They were running the freaking wide zone on offense next year. But yeah, like, it was just, everything was just so confusing and felt disjointed. And like, I really wonder what it would have been like under normal circumstances. I think you probably end up with the same end result ultimately, maybe just a year later, because I don't think that the pandemic caused personalities to clash, or anything like that. But this just feels different. Like, it just feels like it's supposed to feel, if that makes any sense. It just feels like you're not worried about the chemistry. You're not worried about the coaches getting along. You're not worried about, like, if they even know what they're doing as far as the game plans go. Like, it feels like it should feel, and that feels nice because it hadn't felt that way in a couple years.
All right, guys, thanks a lot. Headed back over. You should have carpooled.
Should have.
Yeah. I mean, look at what you're doing.
Hey, I do have a quicker way to. I figured out how to get to the practice fields quicker.
Don't tell me.
I'm not going to.
Keep that a secret. Keep that a secret. Well, tell him.
Well, rather than go.
Tell him, but and tell me, but not tell the public. Some things need to be kept a secret. When we come back, Alvin Brooks III, Baylor assistant coach, and we'll also hear from Kyle Rilbarts and Jeremy Hefner about being separated from their families in a bubble at the women's tournament. This is SicEm365 Radio.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco, and Balcones whiskey, including single malt, pot still, baby blue, rye, brimstone, and the all-new lineage in stock. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive at 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
You want to know why Stonewood Dental is so successful? Listen to what happy customers have to say.
It's pleasant. It's different than any other dentist office. I really feel like they care. And it's not that you're here for 2 hours waiting on someone to take care of you. It's quick and easy, and I bring my kids, and my kids love being here too. They really love the treasure box. Staff is really nice and accommodating, real friendly. You feel more like home. It's not sterile looking. Everybody has their own personalized rooms with decorations and decor, and they'll even have a blanket for you when it's cold. I've recommended people to actually come here, and they are patients now. I really love it here. It feels like family.
Learn more, stonewood-dental.com.
Texas Board Certified Personal Injury Trial Lawyer and Baylor alum David Willis and Baylor alum Parker Willis are ready to help if you or a loved one has been wrongfully injured in an auto accident, SUV rollover, industrial accident, 18-wheeler crash, or were seriously injured by a defective product or recalled drug. Call them for a confidential and free case consultation at 1-800-GOT-HURT or visit them at texastriallawyer.com, principal office in Houston, Texas.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be part of the Waco community. We're a small family business here in Central Texas. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important. And unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. And that's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through this difficult time. So if you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. You can schedule online in minutes at idealmri.com or call 833-IDEAL-MRI.
With so many companies and policies out there, it gets so confusing shopping for insurance, and I never know if I'm getting the policy that's right for me. Luckily, I met the team at the Niche Group Insurance Agency. With the Niche Group, you can go to one company and get access to coverage options from many insurance carriers, and you get to speak to a real person about your specific coverage needs. With the Niche Group, I know I'm getting the right coverage at the right price. If you need insurance, talk to the experts at the Niche Group at 1-800-258-8302.
Y'all listen up. Let me tell you something about group meals from Rudy's Barbecue. It's got all you need for all the folks you gotta feed, smoked meat, sides, and more. There's everything down to the tablecloth, just like the one that you see at the store. At a bridal shower, it's better than flowers. And a long distance meeting, it'll pass the hours. It'll feed all the cousins at a family function. It's better than potluck at a church luncheon. Next time you need to feed 10 or more, call and order a Rudy's group meal.
Next in line. Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio.
Here they go. It almost looked like Vital was in slow motion. He was in the air so long.
The 5 o'clock hour is brought to you by Edward Jones and financial advisor Cam Heathcott. Edward Jones, making sense of investing.
Now here's David Smoak, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoak.
Baylor assistant basketball coach Alvin Brooks III with us, SicEm365 Radio. Always great catching up with Coach Brooks and what he's done, represented some of the organizations he's a part of. And let's start with this. You're in this bubble, whatever they want to call it. You have been there now for well over several days. And I asked you this a minute ago before we started. You've got a 5- and 6-year-old at home. How difficult is that for you and others who have children at home, whether they're 3, 4, 5, 10, or whatever?
Oh, it's extremely difficult. I mean, we've been on the road for over 2 weeks because we left to go to the Big 12 tournament on the 10th. And so we stayed in Kansas City and came to Indianapolis straight from Kansas City. So it's definitely tough with all of us that have kids and wives at home.
Well, thank goodness you have the family you have with Baylor men's basketball, because obviously you guys are a tight group. Alvin, what has changed since the struggles after the pause, or even Kansas and Oklahoma State? Oklahoma State's very good, and so is Kansas. What do you see as the biggest change in where this team is now after the first weekend at the NCAA tournament?
We've had a chance to practice. I think that's the biggest change. After we came back from the 3-week pause, we only had 2 days of practice before we played Iowa State. And so, then after that we had, a bunch of games. And so you can't practice because you got to prepare for the games. And, now we've had, chance to practice and a chance to work on our defense and just have complete defensive days. And I think that's helped us a lot.
Yeah. And, I've seen that. I've heard that. And when you're playing in the middle of a schedule, especially when you guys had to cram 5 games in about 9 days or whatever it was, and then straight to the tournament, you can't focus on yourself. When Coach Drew mentions that, or if Jerome or John or you mention that, explain exactly what you mean about focusing in on yourself. Now I know you guys are focused in on Villanova, but what you can do in practice when it's just you.
Well, basketball is a game of habits. And so the habits that we had early in the season, as far as little things like closing out with our hands and closing out with choppy feet and just having the energy to fly around and scramble, we kind of lost that with 3 weeks because everyone wasn't on the same page and, guys wasn't in the shape that they were in. And so just the effort that's needed to make our defense great, it wasn't there. And, a credit to our guys for figuring out a way to fight through it and still have a chance to win a Big 12 championship.
It also says a lot about the leadership, the experience on this team. You have a veteran team that they took that to heart. Coach Jacobs told me last week about this time that it wasn't all that easy, that it was kind of okay. Some guys might get a little grumpy, or there may be a little bit more confrontational in a good way, maybe push. Everyone take it pretty well?
Yeah, man, we have a special group. We have a really, really special group. And, to have guys that allow us to coach them the way we coach them and they care. Their care factor is at an elite level. So we challenge them a lot, and give it to them. It's credit to them is they accept the challenges that we offer to them.
What's it like to finally just be in this moment after last year? And I know that's gone. We keep going backwards, but you can't tell today that story without at least looking at where things were at this point a year ago. How much have you embraced the fact that you're just playing?
Oh man, extremely a lot. I was just talking to a friend earlier this morning, and he was asking me about the bubble and the fact that we being away from our family, and I just said yes. It's not easy, but it definitely beats the alternative to be at home in the house and not able to be able to coach and play basketball games.
What's it like right now as you focus in on Villanova? They're obviously the two of the last 4 national titles. Coach Wright has done a great job there. They have that history of even back in '85 when Rollie Massimino upset Big Bad Georgetown. And it's a basketball school. Philly dudes, they're tough. They lost their star player, Gillespie, but they've gotten better. What do you see from them?
I mean, you just said, you named all the stuff that, they're a great program. They're an elite program. And, Coach Jay Wright is a Hall of Fame coach. And so they'll definitely be prepared. And so it's an opportunity for us to play against the best. And so in order to be the best, you have to compete and, hopefully beat the best. And so it's going to be a big challenge for us, and we're looking forward to it.
So your guards are playing at a great level. It seems as if the defensive rotations are back to as close to normal as they were before the pause. The bench with Matthew Meyer and Flagler and even Jonathan Shamwachachua, what he was able to do, get back into it. Do you see all the parts now? Not perfect, but do you see all the parts kind of coming together? And if not one, which one still has to get a lot better?
I think our guys, are slowly getting back to where we were. I think the biggest thing is the effort. Our guys, every single day are bringing the effort to get better, and so it's a daily grind. We preach having the boring habits, and we want to be elite at the boring habits, and that's an everyday process of being elite at the boring habits.
You've won before. You had that championship with Grant McCaslin at Midland College. You were successful elsewhere. You've been around some places that have been successful. What was it like watching Grant with that opening round upset in the NCAA tournament, and you guys are kind of hooked together, plus the fact he was on the staff at Baylor?
Oh man, it was unbelievable. Like, just even the conference championship game, we were all watching it on the big screen as a staff. In the media, in the hotel room, and just to see him having success, I've texted him, right after and told him, man, you're just a winner. Like, he's won everywhere he's been, and so I've been around him, and I understand how much of a winner he is, and so I'm not surprised by the success, but it's definitely great to see that he's continued to have success.
There, that first weekend was exhilarating, I would think, for so many people. That ties into Grant. Bryce, of course, and his team at Grand Canyon, they didn't win, but he was in the tournament. Scott and you and the staff that you have. And then, of course, what Paul Mills has done at Oral Roberts, which has blown the top off the tournament in so many ways. How much did that mean that people, not that they didn't know about the fact you guys were all kind of tied in together, but how much did that mean to see others, a lot of others, enjoy success? And was it really almost truly like watching family members?
Oh, it's definitely like watching family members. During our Hartford game, it was the last, going into the last media, they put Coach Mills' game on the big screen. And, after he won, Coach Tang was crying, like literally crying on the bench. And so you don't cry for anybody. And so to see that kind of emotion, and everybody was a little emotional about it. And, even our players, were making comments about it because they know that, we're all one big family. Like, it's a big family that's, we're not all together, but we're connected, we're connected.
Alvin Brooks III, assistant coach at Baylor men's basketball in Indianapolis on SicEm365 Radio. I'm going to name a player, just randomly a player, and I want you to tell me what first comes to your mind, okay?
Okay.
Adam Flagler.
Oh, silent assassin.
Jared Butler.
Elite.
Jonathan Shamwachachua.
Powerful.
Flo Thamba.
Warrior.
Maceo Teague.
Man, perfectionist.
You know, I asked him a question yesterday about getting back, and I'm going to come up with a couple of more names, but I getting back to kind of the groove you're in. And Alvin, he went detail for detail with the dates, the actual dates you were practicing all the way through basically this entire month. I mean, it was unbelievable. Like, well, we didn't practice on March the 6th, and we had a game on the 7th, and then we flew on the... Is that kind of just another example of how detailed and, like you said, a perfectionist?
Yes, it's unbelievable. I don't know if I've ever been around a person like him. I mean, he's a perfectionist that wants to do everything. The process means a lot more than the result to him. And that's rare to find, not only for, you know, a young man, but for a person, period.
Mark Vidal.
Winner.
Boy, what a guy he has been for that program, for your program. I just to see him. He's an emotional. How do you keep? He's the emotional leader. Although Chama was an energy, can do all that. Everyone can, but the amount of respect the teammates have for Mark. Can you try to describe that?
I mean, Mark is like. I mean. He's the first person, you know, I've never been around a kid for 5 years, so I feel like I have a special connection with Mark because he's the first person I've ever been around for 5 years. Mark is he has the personality to gravitate to anybody, and that's hard to say about, you know, anyone, and he can gravitate to anyone just because of his personality, but once he get on the court, he has a switch that, I mean, just turns into a winner, and he's going to do whatever it takes to win. And if you're not playing up to the level that he's playing, he's not afraid to let you know. And I think, you know, as big as he is, I mean, you're going to have to listen to him, because if you don't, he's going to figure out a way to make sure that you do.
I love that. Davion Mitchell.
Winner. I mean, that's another winner. I mean, if you look at his record, when he's played more than 20 minutes at Auburn and here at Baylor, he's probably 50-something and 6. And so he's just a winner.
And I had, with Paul and Craig yesterday, we were able to have Danny Manning and LaFonso Ellis on our show in the opening hour of the show, which was a great start to the show. And LaFonso Ellis has become the president of the Matthew Meyer fan club. If you had to talk to LaFonso, what suggestions would you make about that?
Matt is the, you know, from top to bottom, our most talented player. Like, it's not even close. I mean, he's 6'9", he can dribble, pass, and shoot. So I definitely understand that, because his potential is higher than anyone else on our roster.
You seem to have, from what I've been told, a pride in being just basically the same old boring habits, and that's a compliment. You know, I've done my research here now, but I've been told that, you know, and you know what, people sometimes are at their happiest when everything's just real smooth. Not that there's not ups and downs, professionally, personally, whatever, but that you are just kind of like that heartbeat that you got is just straight, constant, consistent as far as what you like to do.
True.
Where did that come from?
I just think, like you said, I've been blessed to be a part of a lot of championship teams. And championship teams that I've been a part of, and when I played my best as a player, I kind of did the same things. And to me, it takes pressure off of you, because if you're doing different things all the time, now you think about, the pressure of the game or the pressure of this, and the pressure is in preparation. Can you prepare the same, or can you do the same to keep your mind the same and not make it a big moment, but put yourself in a mind frame to where it's just the same thing that I always do, and I do it at the elite level no matter what.
If you were in Waco or somewhere where there was a Chick-fil-A, if you were at Chick-fil-A in Waco and you drove into the drive-thru at Chick-fil-A, what would your order be, and would you even have to say your name or your order if they recognized your voice?
Well, it's kind of crazy. Yeah, you've done your research, but, the Chick-fil-A by Baylor, I kind of miss Miss Pam. Me and Miss Pam, she always bring my order out, so I kind of miss Miss Pam. But, she keeps up with our team, and I'm sure she understands why I haven't been at Chick-fil-A in a while. But I'm looking forward to seeing her on April the 6th or April the 7th.
Yeah, I bet she probably doesn't want to see you until after that first week in April. What's the order? Is it chicken biscuit? Is there anything particular?
Yeah, so normally I try to go the grilled chicken, the muffin grilled chicken.
Yep.
Sometimes I go, the sausage muffin.
Orange juice, coffee, anything?
Orange juice. No, I don't drink coffee.
I'm not a coffee guy either.
Orange juice or high C fruit punch. I'm really a big high C fruit punch guy.
Have you ever had coffee in your life?
Never
have. I had accidentally I thought it was hot chocolate, and I went to go sip something when you guys were in Albuquerque when you played. I think it might have been, I know that Colorado was one of those games, but I remember I thought it was hot chocolate, went to sip it, and I was like, ugh, no. What is it about Warren Buffett that you like so much?
He has the same old boring habits, and I mean he's successful because of it. That's a guy that, his attention to detail is great. He reads almost 7 to 8 hours a day to make a decision, and he's also he bought Coca-Cola and raised the price 1 penny and made millions of dollars by just a simple thing to do. I mean, a lot of people wouldn't do that. And so I study him because, he always says success doesn't change no matter the year. And so that's kind of like basketball. Success doesn't change no matter the year. We just have to research and figure it out.
Wow, I didn't know that story about Coca-Cola. That's amazing. That's almost like if you just raised your level as a person or a coach or a player or a sportscaster 1% a day. How much?
1% a day.
Yeah. How much?
Tony Gaskins spoke to our team. He spoke to us twice since we've been here in Indianapolis. And he talked about, we always talk about getting 1% better. And he said, quantify what that means. And so if you want to get 1% better, that's really like 14 minutes a day. And so if you could figure out some 14 minutes a day to get better at, then that's a chance for you to get 1% better.
Wow. You're exactly right. One more thing. I know how close you are to everybody on that staff, the players, and your father, of course, a successful coach. And I've seen the back and forth, the banter when you guys have done podcasts, and you're involved in so many things to promote the black coaches around America. But not just that, everything about basketball and life. What made you, I think we know the answer, but we had the ice storm. And I remember I was fortunate. Everything I had here, the electricity, TV, cable, whatever you want to call it, everything was fine. Water, I had no problems. And my son came over and spent a couple of nights with me, and I built a big fire because he had been in freezing type almost conditions inside of his apartment. You went to go make sure Jerome Tang and his family had heat. What did you do that day?
Oh, man, it's just, we were blessed because we're near a fire station and a police station. And so I think we were blessed to never have anything cut off because of them. And so because we were blessed and I knew that he didn't have heat, that, I made sure that we win. And I drove we stood in the fire. I was in the line to get firewood for literally maybe 4 or 5 hours.
Wow.
It was a while. And so I made sure I did that, and then I took Coach Tang firewood, Coach Nunez, or whoever else that may needed firewood. And I know they would do the same thing for me and my family, so, their family to me, so I'll definitely do it again if I needed to.
Coach Tang said this to me: Alvin Brooks III is a brother built for times of adversity.
Wow. I'm speechless. Wow.
Says a lot, doesn't it? I mean, it really, really does. Baylor basketball coach has been in the Sweet 16 before, 5 or whatever times since Coach Drew arrived, and they've been to the Elite 8 game, 2 or 3 times as well. What would success, I know you're focused on Villanova, what would moving on another weekend mean to this program, in your opinion?
It'd be huge. It'll be, definitely history. This team has already conquered a lot of history as far as they'll be remembered forever. And to be able to move on to the Final Four, probably say is to be hard to argue if it's not the greatest team in Baylor history, to be honest. So, our goal is to being in Texas, from Texas, and history. Made a movie, Glory Road, about it. And so our goal is to try to do the same and figure out who's going to play us in the movie.
There you go. Alvin Brooks III, Baylor assistant basketball coach. Stay safe. Headed to Indianapolis myself to come cover Villanova and hopefully perhaps another game. Oral Roberts, which would be an unbelievable story, or possibly Arkansas and maybe into the future. Alvin, thank you so much for your time. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Alvin Brooks III of Baylor on SicEm365 Radio.
Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physician of Baylor Athletics. Our doctors specialize in the diagnosis and treatment of any and all sports-related injuries. Celebrating over a decade of service in Central Texas, our doctors are equipped to handle a wide range of issues, whether it's your foot or ankle, orthopedic spine care, your hand or wrist, knee and shoulder pain, or if you're in need of our arthritis or total joint clinic. Come see us at the new Baylor Scott and White Ted and Sue Getterman Sports and Orthopedic Center. Trust the doctors at Baylor Trust, Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. Our goal is to get you back in the game.
Qualified buyer, see dealer for details. The anniversary sales event is happening now at Richard Carr. 22 years in Central Texas is worth celebrating with big savings on all cars and trucks. Savings like $3,500 off a 2021 Buick Envision or Buick Encore GX. Save $6,000 off a 2021 Buick Enclave. Save $6,500 off a 2021 GMC Train or GMC Acadia. Come by for prize giveaways and deep anniversary discounts on every car or truck on the lot. It's the anniversary sales event going on now at Richard Carr.
At Richard Carr, we give you more.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one, commercial, farm and ranch, or residential. Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction. With a team of 28 experienced agents who are excited about serving you, Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
Did you know that 1 out of every 4 men have symptomatic low levels of testosterone and don't even know it? And if you think you're too young to worry about it, guess again. Low T levels can make you feel tired and grumpy, cause weight gain, and wreak havoc on your sexual desire and performance. Petty Clinic Low T can set up same-day blood screening and results, so if you're tired of being tired, I challenge you to man up and Google search Low T Waco or go online, pettycliniclowt.com. It's a private clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Affordable, only $150 a month, includes lab work, office consultation, testosterone injections, follow-up visits compared to $395 a month in Dallas or Austin, and you don't have to fight the traffic. Petty Clinic Low T as board-certified physician consultations will provide the best form of brand-strength testosterone available. Contact Petty Clinic Low T today, just off Highway 84 and Old Hewitt Drive in Woodway. Petty Clinic Low T, helping men become the high-performance men they deserve to be. PettyClinicLowT.com or Google search Low T Waco.
At Marco's Pizza, get craveable pizza made the Italian way with dough made from scratch, an original sauce recipe, 3 fresh signature cheeses, and premium toppings you love, served hot and safe. Right now, you can get unlimited medium one-topping pizzas for just $6.99 each. Why stop at just one? Order with your app or at marcos.com for curbside, carryout, or delivery today. Marco's, pizza lovers get it.
It takes time to reach goals. It's a truth that applies to more than sports. It goes for your financial goals as well. You work hard for your money, and you deserve an investment strategy that lines up with your game plan. And Tom Albers, your Edward Jones financial advisor, can help. If your financial investments aren't putting forth the effort you desire, stop by today for a financial review. Tom Albers, 4301 Lakeshore Drive, 254-776-7605. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio. It's the 22nd year anniversary sales event going on now at Richard Carr.
Jeremy Hefner, Director of Athletics Performance for the basketball team Lady Bears at Baylor, and also Kyle Robarts, the Athletic Communications Director for Baylor Women's Basketball as well. One of the stories, of course, when it comes to March Madness is who's winning, who's advancing, some of the Cinderellas, some of the great stories, the buzzer beaters, the upsets, all of that. And yet there's also a story that is there, and it maybe has been told, and it's about the fact that the players, coaches, and everyone else a part of the staff and program are isolated. Everyone knows about the so-called bubble, and that also then means isolated from family, and that means children, and that means in some cases young children as well. Jeremy Hefner and Kyle Robarts with me on SicEm365 Radio. Kyle, you've got 2 twin daughters. When was the last time you saw them?
I guess it was a week ago Tuesday when we left. Saw them in the morning, and then thank God for FaceTime. You can kind of see them virtually, throughout the process here.
Is that the same?
Of course not. No. Yeah. I mean, they're 4, so they get distracted, and my wife Danielle does the best she can to lock them in, and we visit a lot, and we try to do something every morning and then something in the evening if our schedule permits before they go to bed, and then just sporadic throughout.
Thank goodness for Zoom, huh? FaceTime is what we used to use, I guess. I don't even know, but the Zoom makes that a little bit easier, but still not the same. I used to see things, Jeremy. I used to see videos of like soldiers overseas and how they communicated with family. Of course, it was, and you've been in the Army as well, but it's kind of like locked down as far as security. How about you and Chandler, and how you've been able to try to stay in touch with your family as well?
Yeah, Smoak, we've had about the same exact schedule as Kyle and his girls. We talk at 7 o'clock every morning as she's getting ready for school, and then I talk to her right before bed, and then if we are able to when she gets out of school. So we do 2 or 3 times a day. But like my daughter's 5, so same as Kyle said, their attention span is extremely short. So you may get a good 5 minutes if you're lucky with them.
How much do you embrace those 5 minutes?
Oh, it's pretty much all you think about all day until the next time you get to talk to them. So, yeah, it's tough.
And if things go according to plan with Michigan and then whoever, Iowa, UConn, if you guys keep going, this isn't going to stop anytime soon. What about the decision about family? And I know what they're trying to do is get the tournament in, and they're trying to, obviously, the money that goes with it, and they're trying to keep everybody safe. But what about the fact you cannot have family with you at all? Your thoughts of when you guys first heard that, what was your reaction, either one of you, Jeremy or Kyle?
We've been working for this opportunity all year long, and it certainly takes away from the enjoyment. Not just for them to be there when you celebrate, but in a normal tournament, you come, you play, you're here for 4 to 5 days, and then you get to go home for 2 days, and you get to see your family, you get to recharge, you get to be with them, and then that just fuels you for the next week when you go to the next round. And we just don't have that opportunity right now. Everybody I've talked to that's lost in the tournament, they're like, man, I hate that we lost, but I get to go see my family.
Yeah, I think Jeremy and I started talking about this months ago, tongue-in-cheek, finding creative ways to escape the bubble and go see our kids, since it's only a couple hours away, or creative ways to get tossed out of the bubble by hugging our kids while they're in the stands. So, we've kind of seen this coming from a mile away and had a sense of how we would feel. But yeah, I mean, it's tough. I mean, especially I think Jeremy's daughter's 5 and mine are 4. I mean, it'd be one thing if they were 15 and you could have good discussions with them on the phone and check in with them and things like that. But I mean, if we're here for nearly a month, if we go all the way, I mean, I feel like it's just a valuable window of time that we don't get to see them grow up. I mean, they'll probably be taller when I get back and look a little different in the face and all that. And so it's just kind of tough, especially when they're small.
You mentioned that to hug them when they're in the stands. There's the travel party, which I think is 34 to 36 people, and that includes everybody. And if you included family, then obviously there's a lot that wouldn't be able to be a part of that travel party. Can your wife and the children, can they be at the game, or is that even out too, where you could at least see them or not?
They can be here, but we can't have contact with them. And so I've actually asked my wife not to bring my daughter down to the games, because she is 5 and she's not going to understand why I'm 20 feet away from her, but I can't give her a hug or a kiss. We saw that with, Coach Fuller, McKenzie's son, Cannon, the other night when he came. He didn't understand why he couldn't hug his mom or his grandmother, and he started crying. And I'm not going to be able to handle that in this current state. So I've asked my wife not to bring my daughter unless we make it to a Final Four.
Kyle?
Well, they set out the first 2 rounds because of other obligations. We're going to try the Sweet 16, and funny, you should say that. We were on Zoom this morning, and Danielle was, trying to explain to the girls, we're going to see Daddy and we're going to wave, but we're not going to get to give them hugs and kisses. And they both had lots of questions about that, like why not? And she did the best she could, and I did the best I could to explain what the situation was. I mean, we've been dealing with this for a year. Dad, can we go to the zoo? No. Why not? Well, because of coronavirus. So I mean, they've kind of gotten used to coronavirus as the staple answer for anything when we can't do things that we used to do. And so I don't know how much they comprehended, but it's funny, shortly after that, they just kept asking, well, when are you coming home? Well, when we lose. But when are you coming home? So it's just having trouble getting them to wrap their little minds around it.
Golly, and you're right. You guys, this is what you hope is, and you're kind of torn, I would think. You want to keep winning. That's the goal, to win the championship again and get into that first full week in April. And then again, it's extends that time. Do you think, and I'm not here, the NCAA's taken heat, as you guys know, because of the amenities and all of what went on compared to women's tournament, compared to the men's tournament. But overall, do you feel like they took that into consideration? And if some of those who were making the decisions had younger kids, would they have made different decisions? I know they're trying to keep the tournament alive. I get it. But would they have made different decisions had they themselves had 3, 4, 5-year-old kids?
I feel like they would have had to. I mean, I really think they overlooked this. I mean, I'm so blessed to have Carly at home, just like Danielle, doing the best she can. But if the roles were reversed, like in Mackenzie's case, I can't imagine a mom being away from a 2-year-old child for a month. I just don't think they took that into consideration.
And,
I know.
Yeah, go ahead, Kyle.
There's just so many things to think about. I mean, I don't know a good way to do it other than there just was no room for exception. I mean, the other person I feel for is Kaylin.
Yeah.
Kaylin just had a baby, but she could have made arrangements to have somebody watch the baby so she could pop up and be with her team, kind of in the reverse role. She she's had to make the decision to stay home, and she's an assistant coach, and her livelihood is tied up in the outcomes of these games. And of course she's going to be with her infant baby, but there's just, I know you have to kind of take an approach where a one size fits all, but that's just not really the way it works when it comes to stuff like that. And I get the decision for one size fits all, but it doesn't make it feel any better when you're dealing with it yourself.
Were either of you around Kaylin when that decision was made, or did you see her after the decision was made before you came to San Antonio?
I think Kaylin's decision got made for her because her child was born at 34 weeks. And so, she was due in mid-April. And so, I think the hope was hold off as long as you can, enter the bubble. Obviously, things happened while we were here. That would take care of itself. But being that Reeves was premature, obviously they needed to spend some time there. But as her health improved and things like that, it would have been nice for her to have an option to somehow test into the bubble and go back, so she could be a part of what she works every day for.
Jeremy, when you were in the Army, you did not have children, I don't think, obviously, since they're only 5, or your daughter is 5. Did you remember times when you were serving, when other soldiers had to communicate from afar, from where they were, even if it was here in the country or overseas with their children or their family?
Oh yeah, and it was much different back then. There was no FaceTime. You had a hard enough time with long distance calls. So it was very difficult. It wasn't every day. It wasn't twice a day. You're lucky if it was once a week.
Paul Bradshaw, Luke and Emma, Alex Olson with Taylor. We mentioned Jeremy's daughter, Chandler, Kyle and his twin daughters, Aubrey and Peyton, Cannon with Mackenzie, and obviously Kaylin's daughter, Kaylin's newborn Reeves, and that's just, you're part of you guys. That doesn't include Coach Mulkey and her grandson and Cannon, like you mentioned. And I didn't even think this story existed, I'll be honest with you, until I got a tip about it. I get what they're doing again, but this seems like this could have been handled better. I don't know. I'm not going to put you guys on the spot. You guys have already talked about it. Are there times when all of you have to lean on each other because of what's going on? Even if someone who does not have a child, or someone who doesn't have a child anymore that may be in college or whatever, that's not a newborn or younger, is everybody leaning on each other? You have to have conversations about it?
Yes, we talk about it all the time. But, we are here for a goal, and the goal is to win a championship, and we have a tremendous leader that keeps us all focused. We're a family. We've been together. We spend 10 months a year together almost every day. So there's no doubt that we lean on each other. But ultimately, the great thing about what we do as a profession is we all have one goal, and we all have to stay united in order to achieve that goal. Mm-hmm. And that driving force just kind of keeps you locked in.
Jeremy, as your job as Director of Athletics Performance for the Lady Bears, and you came back after spending time in Tyler, and that's where my son and daughter, Jennifer and Craig, our son and daughter, went to school at what was Lee High School and now Legacy. How has the challenge been for you? You went through the early part of the year, late December, the pause and whatever with COVID. How much of a challenge has it been for you to make sure that these young ladies are in the shape they need to be in, and constantly, despite the changes and the shutdowns and what you can or cannot do, make sure they're full throttle?
Well, I mean, it's been difficult. The saving grace is that it's not just everybody's going through it. So everybody's going to have to deal with it in their own way. The biggest thing is you can't do too much because they have to perform. But you can't do too little because they need to perform. So it's a balancing act like it is. It's no different than any other year, other than the times that you're allowed to be with them has been condensed. But like I said, it's an equal playing field. It's happened to everybody. So.
And Kyle, I know what you do. Everyone who doesn't know, Kyle's the one that handles all the interviews, media requests, makes sure that the team, players, coaches are where they need to be, sets up interviews with us. People always just constantly pounding you when it comes to text messages, phone calls. Hey, I need DJ today. I need Dee, I need coach or whatever. What has it been like? Is it easier that there's not in person and it's all based on Zoom or phone calls, or has it been more difficult for you?
It's both. I mean, I wouldn't say it's more difficult as far as just the job's concerned. Organizing it is different. And I think the positives that come out of it, and you know this, our pre-game and post-game press conferences included national media that wouldn't have normally been in Waco all year. I think that's a positive that's come out of it. There's more exposure, and there's more people who are able to join on a regular basis because they can do it from the comfort of their own home. I wouldn't say it's been more difficult. The workload has been about the same. It's just kind of reorganizing how you get it together. And I think, like you, especially Smoak and a lot of others, you just prefer to be there in person. You get different reactions. And just like you were asking me if my interactions with my girls, are the same virtually. It's not. I think you would agree with that too. So everybody's just making adjustments this year. I think you can pull some things from this experience. More Zoom opportunities so that more people can have access, but you also are going to want to go back to the person-to-person, heart-to-heart type conversations that allow us to tell the stories of our student-athletes in a better way.
All right, Michigan is next. Your thoughts, both of you, before we wrap it up. Jeremy Hefner, Director of Athletics Performance, Lady Bears Basketball, and also Kyle Robarts, Athletic Communications for the Lady Bears as well. Everyone focus. You guys are beating people up pretty good, and now here we go. It's into the next round with Michigan, and then the possibility of either UConn or Iowa. Both of them are explosive. Your thoughts about where the team is right now?
Smoak, I love where we're at. The tenacity of our defense in the last game, and probably the last month of games, I think it's unparalleled right now in the country. And I don't think it's about our opponent. I think it's about us. And if we continue to do the things that we've done over the course of the last 4 to 6 weeks, and we keep that energy level and intensity level up, I think opportunity sits right in front of us, and we're going to take advantage of it.
The day they ask the media relations guy to evaluate basketball talent, it's the day they probably need to pack up and go home. So I'm just going to say that Kim travels defense and rebounding, and I think that's what we do well. And one person I will say that's kind of getting slept on, to use Melissa's slogan, is Queen Egbo. She's been absolutely phenomenal in the postseason, including the Big 12 tournament. Averaged the double-double, and it's just really been the rim protector that we all thought she could be, the piece we thought we would be, losing with Lauren Cox, and she is starting to come into her own here late in the year.
It's just too bad that those who voted for the all-tournament team, and not everybody can make it, and I was a little bit kind of taken aback that the first team, all-conference team for the year had like 10 members on it, which was a little bit much for me, but that's okay. But Queen Egbo, in my opinion, was absolutely should have been a part of the all-Big 12 tournament team, and maybe even give Melissa a little bit of a run as the player of the tournament, the MVP as well. Kyle Robarts, Athletic Communications, and Jeremy Hefner, Director of Athletics Performance, Lady Bears Basketball. Good luck to you guys in handling being away from the family, the children, and thanks for your time today.
Thanks, Miles.
Thank you, Jeremy. Thank you, Kyle. This is SicEm365 Radio.
With more than 160,000 alumni worldwide and counting, the Baylor family is growing. And through the university's expanded Baylor alumni program, the family is growing closer. With hundreds of local volunteers planning events in cities and towns around the country, you can gather with fellow Bears no matter where you are. So, get connected, get something started, get involved, and make plans to get together with Baylor alumni. Visit us at baylor.edu/alumni.
Boozers is the wedding ring store and more. If you're ready to get engaged or already married and want to upgrade your wife's ring for a special anniversary, Boozers is the place to go. With the largest selection of premier quality diamond engagement rings and wedding rings in Central Texas. They have 7 cases with over 300 styles of rings from top designers like Natalie Kay. Choose from yellow, white, or rose gold, plus beautiful top quality loose diamonds. With an in-house jewelry, they can also custom make anything you want. Bring in a picture or draw in and let Boozers create your one-of-a-kind pendant or ring. They can even use some of your old gold and diamond jewelry to create something new. At Boozers, you'll find a great selection of quality timepieces, and Boozers is the place for expert watch maintenance and repairs too. They specialize in expert Rolex watch repair for fine jewelry, watches, custom work, and more. Go to Boozers on Valley Mills and Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Boozers, the wedding ring store and more.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible challenge. Hi, this is Dan Ingram with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like instant issue debit cards free at all of our banking centers, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. The First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
It's time to fire up the grill, heat up the oven, or get that deep fryer going to enjoy the top quality products at Waco Custom Marketplace. Order 30-pound sacks of live crawfish by 6 on Wednesday. Pick up on Friday afternoon after 2 or Saturday. Enjoy the weekend. 30-pound sacks of live crawfish available right now for $4.25 a pound. Find all the crawfish boil ingredients you need, including red beef potatoes, sausage, corn cobbettes, and Louisiana boil seasoning. Make your order for live crawfish by Wednesday at 6. Pick up on Friday after 2 or all day Saturday, and enjoy the weekend. Waco Custom Marketplace, your home for fresh baked kolache, cinnamon rolls every day. Butcher shop to cut your steaks the way you want. Fresh seafood, summer sausage, boudin, house cured and smoked bacon, spices, seasonings, soup mixes, and more, and weekly gift boxes for any occasion. Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco, or WacoCustomMarketplace.com.
Texas board-certified personal injury trial lawyer and Baylor alum David Willis and Baylor alum Parker Willis are ready to help if you or a loved one has been wrongfully injured in an auto accident, SUV rollover, industrial accident, 18-wheeler crash, or were seriously injured by a defective product or recall drug. Call them for a confidential and free case consultation at 1-800-GOT-HURT or visit them at TexasTrialLawyer.com. Principal office located in Houston, Texas.
How did Edward Jones become one of the biggest financial service companies in the world? By not acting that way. Financial strategies, one-on-one advice, it's a big difference. And that's why Brad Wilson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, makes sense of investing. Experience the difference for yourself. Brad Wilson, 250 Sharon Drive in Woodway, 254-776-4337. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
This is Paul Catalina's Top 5 at 5:55.
Welcome back into SicEm365 Radio. I'm by myself. I'm all alone. Craig Smoak is at practice with Grayson Grundhafer. David Smoak's on his way to Indianapolis. I feel like I should be like risky businessing around all of this, and I know that that's a movie reference that maybe my young compatriots here will not understand. But it's a Tom Cruise movie from the early 80s in which his parents went away from the weekend. It's often spoofed across media. With he dances in his underwear to a Bob Seger song. It's kind of a weird scene. You ever seen that? You've never seen that one? Yeah. But it is time for the top 5 at 5:55. And look, today was the NBA trade deadline. I would feel remiss if we didn't at least bring it up. I know we don't talk a lot of NBA on this show, but here's the top 5. And Cole is going to help me out here. Intern Cole, there he is. All right, number 5, the guys that didn't get traded, namely LaMarcus Aldridge, Kyle Lowry. They're both going to get bought out, though, but they were, the Spurs were trying to get something for LaMarcus Aldridge as they start a rebuild. The Raptors also appear to be, a couple years out of an NBA title, going towards a rebuild. Cole, Kyle Lowry, did that one surprise you a little bit?
Yes, because he's going to be a free agent at the end of the season, so I would expect the Raptors to get some type of compensation back for him. Yeah. But maybe they try to do right by him. Yeah.
I think they're probably going to buy him out. Number 4 is J.J. Redick to the Mavericks. This will help their scoring for sure, but I don't know if this is going to make them a title team. The biggest thing about the Mavericks is they thought they had a big 2 and they have a big 1. Luka Doncic is the dude. But Kristaps Porzingis has been,
Yeah, I don't think the J.J. Redick deal does much because I feel like Tim Hardaway Jr. does the same things JJ does, I think like someone like Victor Oladipo would have really helped the Mavs.
Yeah, I'm sure they probably feel the same way.
Right.
Number 3, and this is part of the Magic fire sale that they had, but Nikola Vucevic, say it for me.
Jokic.
Yeah. Vucevic, though.
Yeah. Vucevic. Sorry.
Vucevic.
Yeah, sorry.
Goes to the Bulls from the Magic. I mean, he's I don't know, like, this is probably 1 and 1A of the best players on the Magic, but
Right.
but this is, you like this one, don't you, Cole?
Oh, he's a solid pickup for the Bulls because Zach LaVine didn't really have a pick and roll partner, and that's kind of like what the NBA is now. And those two will be dominant together, especially in the East.
Yeah. So good pickup for them. All right, number 2, Aaron Gordon to the Nuggets. The Nuggets are already a good team. I mean, they've got the Joker.
I like this deal a lot.
The other yeah. I mean, and he doesn't have to go there and be anything other than what he is.
No, he can be the third option, and then he's a big athletic body that you can throw on like LeBron James, Kawhi, because they needed a defender like that.
Yeah, this is a great move. This probably should have been number 1, but number 1 is Victor Oladipo to the Heat, expiring contract. Cole, I know you're a big Rockets fan. Do you feel that the Rockets made out well enough in this thing?
No, because it's tied to the James Harden deal. So in return, it really looks like we got nothing, no player of value in the James Harden's deal. But I think he works with Miami because he fits the culture type, 3-and-D guy. So I think it works out for the Heat. But yeah, Rockets got robbed. Yeah, and look, the Heat were in the championship last year. They're probably not going to be this year, I wouldn't think, unless they go on it. And nobody thought they would last year either. But I wouldn't doubt Jimmy. Yeah, exactly. But you have Jimmy Butler. Now you give him some more weapons around him. They really love Tyler Herro there. So, they're pretty good. There were other deals made around the league, but another one I liked is Rajon Rondo to the Clippers. Okay. Something they missed last year. They didn't have like a true point guard to finish games, and now they have that because Rondo really shows up in the playoffs. All right. All my NBA top 5s from now on will have Cole. Bottom line, that was a great segment. That was awesome. So there we go. All right, thank you to everybody who's a part of the show today. Jeremy Hefner and Kyle Robarts, Alvin Brooks, Mickey Spagnola, Fran Fraschilla, Jalen Petrie, Grayson and Craig. Smokey will be live from Indianapolis tomorrow from a hotel room because that's COVID and that's what we have to do. But we'll be back tomorrow. Be sure to download anything you missed from SicEm365.com or subscribe to any of our feeds across Spotify, iTunes, whatever you want to do. Find us online and all that. We'll have more Baylor football post-practice audio and video up on the website very, very soon as it's wrapped up. This is SicEm365 Radio.
At Baylor University, students find their place to shine. They're faithful friends and inspirational leaders. They're championship teammates and independent thinkers. They're on the cutting edge of high tech and in the halls of history. If you want to make the world a brighter place, you can. And if you want to shine in your own way, you can. The spark you need is already inside you. Bring it to Baylor, where lights shine bright.
Ideal MRI is a small family business right here in Central Texas. We're open to support you while lowering the cost of healthcare bills. When you need an MRI, ask your doctor for an Ideal MRI. Visit us at idealmri.com or call us at 833-IDEAL-MRI.
At Marco's Pizza, get craveable pizza made the Italian way with dough made from scratch, an original sauce recipe, 3 fresh signature cheeses, and premium toppings you love, served hot and safe. Right now, you can get unlimited medium one-topping pizzas for just $6.99 each. Why stop at just one? Order with your app or at marcos.com for curbside, carryout, or delivery today. Marco's, pizza lovers get it.
Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.